Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And there is so much to cover. We don't have time for it. I mean, we're just starting the show knowing it's going to be a downhill sprint. We're going to tumble over ourselves trying to get to everything that's occurred since the last time you heard our voices right here on San Diego Sports 760.
This was supposed to be a down week in the NFL.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Oh, my goodness.
There is no such thing. TD flanking me to my left, Fletch flanking me to my right. If you're listening on the free iHeartRadio app, please send the link to a friend if you like the show. Best way to support the show. And you could use the free iHeartRadio app wherever you go on your work day, or if you're running errands today. Great way to listen to the show. Okay, so I don't know where to start, so we'll just start here. TD, biggest takeaway from Week 10 in the NFL.
Ooh, man, oh man! I guess
mean, pick one. No
kidding.
It doesn't matter.
The 49ers defense got a whole lot better.
Yeah,
I mean, a whole lot better.
Chase Young's gonna work, bro.
Yeah. Also, side note, the Jags kind of suck.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Right.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I actually think they do. I honestly think they do.
It's a twofer.
It's a twofer.
He says the defense is great in Niner land, and the Jaguars, well, they're scraping bottom. Okay, Fletch. Fletch is the ultimate 49er fan. So I'm going to ask you to just try to steer your attention away from them for a moment, because we will spend some time with them.
Easily done. Not on the Niners at all. My biggest takeaway from Week 10, not even close to the San Francisco 49ers.
Go ahead.
CJ Stroud belongs in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at the favorites list right now from Vegas, he doesn't even crack like the top 10. Maybe that changed after yesterday, but he needs to be, I'm talking top 2.
Yeah.
Like over Patrick Mahomes so far this season. Look at the numbers. CJ Stroud, statistically, is the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Rich, you played obviously in the NFL. You played with a number of great quarterbacks, arguably the greatest of all time. Now, CJ Stroud, is he able to keep
Talking
this
Kevin
up?
Cobb, greatest of all time?
That's exactly who I'm talking about.
Ryan Lindley, greatest of all time?
That's B. That's B.
I knew you were talking about my time in Arizona when you said that.
Just saying, if CJ Stroud is able to keep this up, is he now the greatest quarterback ever to play the game?
No, because there's a man named Joshua Dobbs.
Can you take me higher? I love Josh Dobbs.
He is so awesome.
They're cranking out quarterbacks in Arizona.
It's pretty unreal what's happened with the Arizona Cardinals situation in general. But yeah, CJ Stroud's the real deal. He's got star stuff sprinkled in the ingredients list. And I don't know what it is. I mean, it's a lot of things. Obviously, when you're talking about a quarterback, you have to have the mind for it, the composure for it. You have to have the talent. You have to have the self-belief, the leadership capabilities. He's got all of it. And as a result, the Texans are a winning team here after Week 10. They're a 5-4 football team. And I said it a week ago. I think the Texans can win that division. And we're getting closer and closer to that prophecy coming true. I really, really believe in D'Amico Ryans. I think he's a good head coach, certainly coach of the year candidate. I'm a real big believer in CJ Stroud and everything he's done, certainly rookie of the year. And I agree with Fletch. He's on his way to being in the MVP conversation. But steering back toward Minnesota, my biggest takeaway from the NFL weekend is in Dobbs we trust. Joshua Dobbs,
right?
Second week in Minnesota, really not even his second full week. He's only been there for about 10 days. He's got his second win under his belt against a top 5 defense in the NFL in the New Orleans Saints. He's unbelievable.
Oh, it's and fun. I mean, fun to watch.
He's a fun guy. Good. Yeah, easy to support.
Yeah, we do know, if you're listening to us on the stream, we do know we are having some issues with our transmitters, so we're working on that right now. So,
okay.
Yeah. So hopefully you're listening to us on the stream. Otherwise, you're not listening to us. Apparently.
Okay. So we have a little tower issue. So yeah, definitely definitely thank you for listening on the free iHeartRadio app. We'll get the transmitter going here in a second. I know because
maybe it's out of gas.
At our first break, they're going to send us to climb the tower.
Yeah.
There is no one left. There is no one left.
That is oddly accurate.
Okay.
Oddly accurate.
So
what? I mean, your biggest takeaway, Rich?
Oh, it's Dobbs. I mean, it's Dobbs, and it's really the conversation has to circle around some of the quarterback play that we've seen yesterday. But I will say this, probably secondarily to that, I feel so bad for Justin Herbert. I feel bad for Justin Herbert in the same way I felt bad for Phillip Rivers, and here's why. If you're a Chargers fan, you've seen this story unfold in front of your eyes the first time around with Phillip. It is possible that by the end of Justin Herbert's career, the Chargers will have 20 plus years of elite level play at quarterback and will not have a Super Bowl to show for it. They are wasting time. Brandon Staley. Okay, let me run through a list of names.
Incredible to me.
Brandon Staley is not a very good football coach. I'm going to run through a couple of names that if they were paired with Justin Herbert, what do you think the results would be? Would they be better or worse? Okay, here they go. Pete Carroll, better or worse?
Oh, far better.
Okay.
Far better.
Andy Reid, better or worse?
Ooh, Andy Reid?
Yeah. What do you think he'd be able to hack it inside that Chiefs offense? Do you think Justin Herbert would benefit from Andy Reid's tutelage?
Oh, you're asking me if
Justin Herbert would be better, coached by any of those guys, would it go better?
Yes, 1,000,000% better. Okay. Sorry, I thought you meant the team itself. Would they be better?
No.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. 1,000,000 times over.
Okay. Herbert was coached by Dan Campbell. Better or worse?
100% better.
Kevin O'Connell.
Better. That's better.
Because after what he's done with Joshua Dobbs on 10 days
that
notice.
That is true. That is very true. Yes. Okay, better.
Okay,
yeah.
Kyle Shanahan.
Light years better.
Okay, Brian Dable.
Light years better.
Okay, Doug Peterson.
Light years better.
Mike Vrabel, Sean McVay, Bill Belichick, Sean McDermott, Sean Payton, D'Amico Ryan, Zach Taylor, Nick Sirianni, Mike Tomlin, Kevin Stefanski. Look, the point is, with virtually any other head coach in the NFL, you could make an argument. Outside of maybe a handful, maybe 5 or 6, you could make an argument that Justin Herbert would be way better in standing with any other head coach.
Well, just look at all these teams that have done so much more with so much less talent.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, the Steelers.
Great point.
The Steelers. Look at the freaking Steelers. The Steelers are making wins happen. Somehow, Mike Tomlin's making some magic happen out there. And it's incredible. But can you imagine Justin Herbert now on the Steelers?
Yeah, that's the thing. You take a talent like Justin Herbert, who is obscenely talented, and you pair him with just about any head coach who really just has a cursory understanding of what to do in situational moments, or who, as a defensive-minded head coach, has a good defense. Mm-hmm. He's got all the ingredients to a good defense. The problem is he can't cook. Right. So it's insane to watch these Chargers games. They just gave up 41 points to the Lions at home. Let me repeat that. For anybody who fails to remember the history of the Detroit Lions, and I do understand they're completely different. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and Brock Wright, and they have a completely different, and Jared Goff, by the way, is playing out of his mind. They have a completely different looking offense. That offense has been completely gentrified, and so credit where credit's due. But TD, when you look at the Chargers and the opportunity they had there, and you see what the Detroit Lions have looked like historically, it feels like there's no excuse to lose to them at home.
Oh, man. No, there's not. However, this Detroit team is a little different.
Yeah.
And this Detroit team isn't just a little different because of the talent that's on the team. This Detroit team is rallying behind a belief that it's their turn. Yeah. And I mean, there is something different in this Detroit team that, to me, they are a Super Bowl contender. Yeah. I mean, and I am all here for it. That is a fun watch. They've got a great offense. Their defense plays hard. Their coach, I don't know if I've ever rallied behind a coach more ever in my life. I mean, I love the guy. And the team, like when they say, oh, if you hang out with your dog, you start to look like your dog. The Detroit Lions are now starting to look like their coach.
Yeah.
I mean, they are resonating that same feeling, that same attitude, and it's great.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
What'd I miss?
No problem. Hey, I saw you come in and grab the little transistor radio. We are going to use that. Thanks, Aaron Bauman.
So we can confirm we are on 760 AM right now.
Okay.
We are not on the iHeart stream as of right now, but that's getting fixed in the next 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Right on, right on.
All
Okay,
right.
so we have engineering on the job. That's good because it's early.
It's happening.
Yeah. All right. Lions improved to 7-2 on the season. Season.
Oh, that was a hell of a game.
Oh, yeah.
Were you guys just talking about it?
Yeah.
But the back and forth, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, those two stellar quarterback performances. Kind of wish that was primetime.
Which, by the way, wasn't Detroit up by like 2 touchdowns?
17-3 maybe by the end of the first quarter.
Somewhere, yeah. The first, which also, I think the Lions had about 300 yards of offense the first half. So I mean, it was insane. But
Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Bijan Robinson. There, I said it.
Wow.
Jahmyr Gibbs is they've played it the exact way I think they should, which is weird to say because I feel the exact opposite way in Atlanta. We'll get to that in a second, but Jahmyr Gibbs, he didn't look great to start the season.
Slow ramp up.
And so they gave him the slow ramp up. David Montgomery, obviously very productive out of their backfield. He gets hurt. Gibbs comes into the focus 2 weeks ago, has that insane game before the bye week. And it looks like he's caught up to the NFL level.
So the running back position, Rich, I don't know what goes into that spot mentally. Like it looks on TV, just get the ball and run. But there's so much more to that, and we know that. So is part of the Jahmyr Gibbs ramp up was that David Alexander has 5 years experience in this league. This is year 5. And so it's a little easier for him to pick up a playbook, even though it's his first year in Detroit. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, it was the slow ramp up because, well, right away, going from college to the NFL, all of a sudden you have to think about so many more things. Yeah. And so now he's looking a little better because he's just more comfortable in the system.
You mean Montgomery? David Montgomery?
Yeah, what did I say?
Alexander.
Oh, David Montgomery. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. But you're absolutely right. Everything you just said is 100% correct. And it's a faster learning curve for some, right? So certain guys, it's for whatever reason. CJ Stroud, perfect example, duck to water. Like you don't have to teach very much. I'm sure the feet look like they're going 1,000,000 miles an hour underneath the surface of the water, but on top, he looks cool. Mm-hmm. He looks like it's just placid. He can handle it. But with a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, it might have been like drinking from a fire hose for a little bit there, and he needed to play a little catch up, and he had time with David Montgomery toting the rock for the Lions.
If CJ Stroud is, looks like duck feet underwater, and like you said, it's when that ball snaps, all of a sudden he's cool.
He is.
So yeah, something just slows down. He gets it, and this is a guy we talked about it last week who is supposed to be a failure, right? I mean, this was a guy that wasn't supposed to work out because he didn't. What's this test that they take?
Oh, it's like the
Wonderlic.
Not it was
the Wonderlic.
It was
CJ Stroud failed the Wonderlic, I think.
It was the cognitive one. It was like the C19, whatever they call it, the C16. Remember, it's the cognitive exam that measures how you respond in real time to whatever it was. They say it's the closest acumen or analog to like quarterbacking in the NFL.
The S2.
So he scored an 18 out of 100 on that. And that is, Rich, like you were just saying, measures how players can process and make split-second decisions. TD, if you remember, that was the one you said, that sounds kind of fun because it sounds like a video game.
Yeah.
So CJ Stroud has been quoted now saying, look, I'm a bad test taker. Put me on the field and I'll make it happen. And that's exactly what he's done.
Which I mean, he's going against all thinking on this because the NFL coaches and analysts have looked at this and said, no, look, we have never seen a player who scored poorly on the S2 do well in the NFL. Yeah. And he's breaking the rules.
Guys, you know what's crazy? That could very well be the reason the Carolina Panthers decided to go Bryce Young instead of CJ Stroud.
Yep.
And the Carolina Panthers this morning are going to be looking up and seeing CJ Stroud fly up the MVP race and going to be kicking themselves all over the place because we just saw Bryce Young on primetime. He's not ready.
Whoever in that room, right, was the loudest defender of Bryce Young and the loudest detractor of CJ Stroud. It's like my guess is when that gentleman or those gentlemen walks down the hallway in Carolina, people avert their eyes. It's dead man walking.
Mm-hmm.
It's dead man walking. You cannot miss this big. And also remember what they traded away to get the first overall pick to take Bryce Young.
A ton.
Yeah.
This year's first overall pick, most likely.
Yes.
DJ Moore. There's more pieces to it, but it was a 4 or 5 piece trade.
It was brutal for the Carolina Panthers, in terms of, the bloodletting to get that pick and then to miss and have the very next pick do what he's doing. It's just, I can't imagine what's going through the mind of the coach or the general manager who backed that pick. All right. Well, we have our first halftime here. So let's just buzz through all these NFL finals yesterday. It began early morning. Patriots hosting the Colts in Germany. Patriots lose. They are now a 2-8 football team, only able to muster a first quarter field goal and a fourth quarter field goal. Colts win. They move on to a 5-5 record. Okay, Texans, we just talked about it. CJ Stroud had a day, 1 touchdown. He threw a bad interception, but 356 through the air was the reason that the Texans had a pulse on that last drive. They knock it through for the field goal at the last minute or last second to win 30-27. Bouncing around here, Vikings, they best the Saints. Joshua Dobbs onto a second win as the starter in Minnesota. He threw for 268 and a touchdown. How about the 49ers? They came off their bye ready to play football, 34-3 thrashing of the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. We talked about it. The Chargers got beat up by the Lions, 41-38. Another last-second field goal victory for the Lions this season, but also a lot of those around the league. I think it was something like 9 finishes in the NFL this Sunday. It was something insane. Maybe 9's too many.
5 came down to a field goal.
5 came down to a field goal. And then there were another 2 that came down to a last second score. It was insanity yesterday.
So week 9 in the NFL got all this hype because there was really great matchups on paper and most of them delivered, but some of them didn't. Week 10 got no love, especially in the preseason. You start looking through, you see, Texans, Bengals, the Bengals are going to kick the you-know-what out of them. But then you get to week 10 and the games that we got with Kyler Murray returning and being a stud, with Josh Dobbs continuing his magical run, with CJ Stroud literally being the best quarterback in the NFL. It was awesome.
You know what I find interesting is, so literally Friday, I'm going the Bengals. They're going to go on a run. They're going to make a play here to win the division. As Fletch is making the pendulum swing back and forth here. However, I don't know if the pendulum was swinging back the other way for the Bengals. The Bengals still look good to me. Yeah. The Bengals are still have it right. It's just Houston and CJ Stroud found a way to win.
Yeah, sometimes you get the Bears. Sometimes the Bear gets you. Unfortunately, you got outdueled. And it's difficult when you're Joe Burrow and you're healthy and everything we know about who he's been in the NFL so far, his career. It's tough it's a tough pill to swallow when you get outdueled by a rookie who's first year on the job. But CJ Stroud is special. I got to ask you. So TD, you're a football fan. You sit down, you watch every single one of these games. So I know I trust your evaluation. Is there a team in the NFL playing better than the San Francisco 49ers when they're healthy?
No, there's not. No, there's absolutely not. What's odd, though, is I feel like if you remove one piece of that Niner team, things start to crumble. Not that it's a house of cards, but I mean, look, without Debo out there, things got shaky. I'm interested to see how this defense continues to roll here the rest of the season, because right now that defensive line is it's unstoppable. And I mean, listen, when you only have to have 4 guys up front the entire time, good luck.
And they were actually doing it with 3 a couple different times yesterday, which was even more impressive.
Still getting to them.
Yeah. But TD, when you look at it, you use the House of Cards analogy, and I think that's perfect because the most important part of a House of Cards is the foundation, the very bottom of it, right? When Trent Williams is missing from the lineup, it's almost more impactful than when Deebo Samuel isn't there. So Trent Williams is saying he's at 75% health right now, and he even said after the game, he's like, I probably shouldn't have played today, but I'm going to because I feel like we really needed the win. But when he's gone, the protection is so much different for Brock Purdy. And the defense on the other side gets so much better automatically just by not having Trent Williams there. And the run game is completely different because he's your lead blocker on a lot of these runs. So the Niners team yesterday is the team that should be out there and the team that will get a lot of wins. But the Niners team, when they're missing someone, TD, they're super vulnerable.
Now, Fletch is a Niners fan, but I do think that he calls it straight, because if there's somebody, you ever meet somebody who's like super handsome, but they demur when anybody like offers them any compliment or attention. They're like, oh,
have you seen TD's biceps?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There you go. Perfect example. I mean, his glasses really frame his face.
They don't, though.
Especially when you wear glasses on your face and on your hat.
I guess
it
kind of feels
and
like you're
hat.
making fun of me. Is all.
No.
That's all.
No,
It's fine. It's
stop
fine.
it.
It's
But
fine.
Rich,
It's fine.
please
I mean,
continue.
there's nothing I can do about it.
But that is kind of Fletch's attitude about the Niners. Like, we say nice things about Brock Purdy, we'll be like, yeah, but did you see that first touchdown throw?
Did you see that?
Should have been an interception.
It should have been.
I mean, he went 23 for 25. We demand perfection in San Francisco.
Yeah. No, listen, everything you just said.
You just side-eyed Fletch is like, yeah, I mean, we do.
So Chase Young, not only are they 100% healthy and they have all the pieces back, but adding Chase Young at the deadline makes this defense unstoppable. There is a play during that game where the 49ers lined up with 4 rushers and they dropped one of their rushers off the ball. So they're rushing 3. Both of their offensive tackles got beat, and Trevor Lawrence had 1.6 seconds in the pocket and got crashed like you ever see the chimp, the wind-up chimp with the cymbals where it's like,
Yes.
Like Chase Young and Nick Bosa earholed him on opposite sides and brought him to the ground, sharing a half sack apiece.
It honestly almost made me cry. It was so beautiful.
They were like Chase Young's like leaning his head on Nick Bosa's shoulder. People, let me tell you about my best friend. Dude,
a third-round compensatory draft pick is what the 49ers got Chase Young for.
The Commanders are a mess of
that
franchise.
Third-round compensatory draft pick could very well end up being a 5th-round pick.
So, yeah. So Washington continues to not know what the hell they're doing, and the San Francisco 49ers are a benefactor in terms of that trade.
Right before we get out, and Rich, I want to hear about how skinny you are.
Yeah.
But right before we get out, do we need to start shifting the conversation from Mike McDaniels obviously being the coach of the year to DeMeco Ryans?
Dude, the performance. Okay. So the 2 performances that have been the most outstanding this year in the NFL is what DeMeco Ryans has been able to do with CJ Stroud, but also what CJ Stroud has been doing. I will say this, though. Kevin O'Connell, Aztec for life, quarterback here on the Mesa for San Diego State for all those years before his career in the NFL as a player and then as a coach so far. What he's done as a head coach with this Minnesota team, losing his starting quarterback to an Achilles tear and then having 2 more quarterbacks, one of which who just got parachuted in from the trade deadline and stacking up wins. He may have an argument for coach of the year come the end of the season.
It's coach of the year isn't necessarily taking the Ferrari and driving fast, because that's what everyone expects you to do. Mike McDaniels with Miami. But it should be lifting a team up beyond expectations. And that is absolutely what DeMeco Ryans has done. That's absolutely what Kevin O'Connell is doing. So maybe those 2 should be the leaders in the clubhouse.
Look, if you're a great coach, you get great results no matter what the ingredients. And that's true with SDFatLoss.com. So Wayne and Chloe are the weight loss coaches with SD Fat Loss. And I wouldn't call us great ingredients. I mean, we're players.
Yeah.
We're kind of just guys out there, you know? Like,
I guess.
But we're husky gentlemen. And when we linked up with them, they said, look, there's a lot here. All you guys have to do is be a little bit disciplined and you're going to lose a ton of weight. So that's what we did. We listened to them. Good advice, by the way, because within the first week, I think as a show, we dropped damn near 30 pounds. It was unbelievable. So I started this journey at 301. Travis was in the 280s. Ben was almost in the 280s. And we all dropped down to like that next threshold within 8 days of being on this diet plan.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing the scale drop, and all of a sudden when I got to the 260s, 269, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is working fast.
Yeah. So those milestones that Travis was just talking about, TD hit those, and it was it was unbelievable because he was like, yeah, he was the one who was like, oh no, this isn't gonna work for me. I've tried everything. No, I mean it did. Fletch. It's like watching The Amazing Invisible Man. The guy keeps disappearing on us. He turns sideways, and it's like we miss him sometimes. Yeah, myself, new clothes, or I should say old new clothes that's been hanging in the closet that hadn't fit for months. I'm putting them on these days and feeling a lot more confident about the way I look in the mirror. So if you're like us, if you have a ton of weight that you're looking to get rid of, or just a couple of stingy pounds that you can't seem to get off of the old waistline, call SD Fat Loss. I'll give you their number in a second, but sdfatloss.com. sdfatloss.com is where you start your journey. No shakes, no protein bars, no counting points like some of these deals. Like it's just a new plan, good coaching, good advice, and you stick to it. You're going to be just like us in the end. 858-665-3211. That's the number to dial. 858-665-3211. sdfatloss.com. It's been a real godsend for us, and we highly recommend it to everybody out there trying to lose weight. Okay, coming up next, huge news out of college football broke just hours for arguably the biggest game of the season. We'll catch you up on that news coming up next.
We got some huge news that was dropped on us in college football just hours before the most important game of the whole season. We'll tell you what it is next.
This update is presented by AutoZone. Good games across the NFL in Week 10. Chargers fall to the Lions in a shootout 41-38. Browns beat the Ravens 33-31. Texans upset the Bengals. Another big game from C.J. Stroud. Texans win 30-27. Kyler Murray returns to lead the Cardinals to a 25-23 win over the Falcons. And on Sunday Night Football, the Denver Broncos will travel to the Buffalo Bills. That's tonight, Monday Night Football. Locally, the San Diego State football team falls to Colorado State in Fort Collins 22-19. Aztecs basketball, they're back on the court tomorrow night. They got Long Beach State. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. We also have a pair of tickets to give away on the show today. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. So get in the zone. AutoZone.
San Diego Sports 760, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Happy Monday, coming off a what it became a giant NFL weekend. All kinds of things to break down there. But Fletch, you just said it there in your update. Aztec tickets were given away today. We got a pair of those. Aztecs versus Long Beach State tomorrow night. Viejas Arenas. Go Arena. GoAztecs.com for tickets and info. Also, we got a 4-pack of tickets to Legoland. Legoland Holiday is here, presented by Hallmark Channel. Celebrated November 18th through January 7th with festive character shows, food, snow, and more. Visit Legoland.com/California for details.
Okay, so
we live in Legoland.
Well, we know, yeah.
We do.
We're mini landers.
Which we were going to do like a promotion with that. I feel like we still need to figure out how to make that happen.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
We will. Yeah,
Just
since
send
that's
people
been
there.
Since that's been announced, we have yet to post it to social, but we have a big we've got a big thing planned for the future, and we'll put our heads together on exactly how we want to do it. But I think we tipped our hand a little bit earlier on for our hardcore listeners who tune in every single day. They know what we're talking about. A little bit of a
we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Okay.
So
That's
stand by.
weird. I don't know what we're talking about.
We're talking about Legoland.
Legoland.
We were gonna tell people to go to
we can't say
Legoland.
we can't say anymore.
Okay.
All right. College football, huge breaking news right before Michigan took flight or was in the air on their way to State College, Pennsylvania to face the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Big Ten, the conference, decides that Jim Harbaugh no longer can coach from the sideline. He can coach his team during the game week, but he can't coach on game days. So he has this weird kind of half in, half out suspension announced while the Wolverines are traveling to State College. This was about as strange as you could handle a punishment, in my opinion. But what was your guys' reaction?
Lame. Completely lame. You know what? If I was Michigan State, I would have wheeled
Michigan.
out. Michigan.
Yep.
I would have wheeled out one of those carts like we had in grade school with the TV on top, and just had his head on the television the whole time.
I think it's been handled very poorly by the conference. I think we're too quick to. This is Jim Harbaugh getting canceled, by the way. That's what this is.
Yeah,
so we are
exactly.
very quick to do that in today's society, which is fine, but that's where we're at. So it's very Houston Astros to me as well, where it's like everyone knows that everyone's doing something similar to this, but we're going to come down hard on the Houston Astros because we don't like the general manager. We don't like the head coach. Well, people don't like Jim Harbaugh, so they're very quick to come down on him. Now, what I will say is I think as a show, we had a lot of sympathy for Caleb Williams when he was sobbing into his mother's arms after the game, the USC game. The Michigan coach who took over and then has stand up on TV after the game and is sobbing uncontrollably saying, "I love you so much, Coach Harbaugh." I'm going to make fun of that one a little bit. That seemed like so over the top. And I get it that football is a really emotional game for the players. For the coaches, what are we doing, guy? I love you, coach. I love you so much.
It was
shut up.
It was all a lot. But Sharon Moore, to your point, when he's got tears streaming down his eyes.
Yeah, and stop cussing on live TV, bro. Not cool.
It was
kind of cool though.
It was an odd. I agree. I felt like, what's the word? Cringe.
Yeah,
so
cringy. That's perfect.
Like I just felt like it was very cringy, and I felt like that secondhand embarrassment. And it wasn't like Caleb Williams was having a very public, very honest, it felt like emotional reaction to something that happened he saw his mom in the stands. He ran over and he was giving her a hug like any good son would. Just, hey, mom, thanks for coming out here and supporting me. And I think she might have seen how upset he was, and she was upset. And that feeling inside of you, like when you see your mom's upset.
Safety.
Oh, yeah.
It's like all of a sudden you fall into her arms and you're just like, it doesn't matter where you are. It just changes your mood when your mom's upset. And so I think she was upset for her son, and it just created this I wasn't cringed by that at all. Like,
it was a very real moment.
Yes.
Michigan, what's his name? I'm sorry.
Sharon Moore.
Mr. Moore. That felt very over the top.
Yeah.
Very, the camera's on me.
Yeah,
I'm going to make
exactly,
a big scene about this because I effing love Coach Harbaugh. I effing love you, Coach.
I was going to say, once the camera gets turned on and you're trying to make a statement in front of the world, that's what that felt like to me.
It was a strange situation. So this is the tail of the tape. The Big Ten suspended Jim Harbaugh for the final 3 regular season games. It started with that showdown against Penn State. The announcement came from Commissioner Tony Petitti. Now, it's 23 days after the first conference, I should say, when conference officials first alleged that Michigan was involved in these sign stealing issues with Connor Stallions and others who scouted future opponents, which has been prohibited in the NCAA since 1994. That's when they made those original rule changes. So this decision, though, was stunning for 2 reasons. One, because of how fast it happened. The Big Ten investigation was not thorough. It was not long.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, it's unprecedented in my opinion, for such a season shifting, I don't want to say overly punitive, because depending on what the result of the NCAA investigation, maybe it's underwhelming in terms of how much punishment the Wolverines should incur. But the fact that they didn't do a full investigation prior to suspending Jim Harbaugh, because they couldn't, because there's no way they could have done a thorough investigation. Look, they beat my alma mater, and I am still on the side of allowing due process to play out and having Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverine team have their day in court, so to speak.
Yeah, and I don't even care if it turns out, oh yeah, he was stealing signs. I don't care. I feel like if there is a sign that's being used out in the open that the opposing team can see and they are smart enough to figure it out, that's on your team for letting that happen. That's on them for being that smart with it. It's just bonkers to me. If you want to fire Harbaugh, fire him. This is so strange. He can coach all week long. He can't be out there on the sideline.
Nah, it's.
And I wonder, is he allowed to coach if they get to the college football playoff?
So it's
this is a regular season suspension, right?
It's just for the final, including, if they play in the Big Ten championship game, I think he's still allowed to coach in that one. I think this is just a 3-game ban.
It's so bizarre. Now, unfortunately, like the part of the story that should be the story, keeping the main thing, Michigan came out and played a hell of a football game. The players on the field beat Penn State at Penn State, and that's a tough thing to do. So what it sucks in all this Harbaugh stuff is now the focus has completely shifted away from the 104, however many players are on a college football roster, and it's gone to the coaching staff, which it's so dumb. And it's another reason I get mad at that coach for, once again, stealing the spotlight and talking about how much you love Coach Harbaugh. That's fine. Talk about the players on the field who just bled and bruised for an hour and a half to 3 hours playing awesome football and getting Michigan into an opportunity where they could be the best team in the country.
I hate it when you see punishments that all come down that feel like they are just there for semantics. I mean, they're just there to show, like, look, see how fast we did something about it. Look, see what we're doing. We are doing something about this whole cheating thing. So everybody just lay off. I mean, this is nonsense to me. I hope that they do a thorough investigation and it comes out that he didn't do anything wrong. I don't see that happening.
He did something wrong, but he didn't do anything that anyone else is doing.
I mean, they owe it to the game of football, and frankly, to set appropriate precedent for when these sort of things happen in the future. If they don't, I mean, they really screw themselves. I mean, this could be one of those situations where, if they have alleged sign stealing in the future, like if another team is guilty of this, and it doesn't matter if it's the SEC or the ACC or whatever the Pac-12 becomes after all this, there's potential for now other conferences having to do what Tony Petitti did and the Big Ten because there's precedent for it. So yeah, it's the biggest story in college football, and unfortunately, the worst handled story in college football so far this season. And to your point, all the focus is on Harbaugh and Sharon Moore instead of the players. All right, coming up next. It was the biggest win of the weekend, but does it change anything for the team? We'll get back to that on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Hey, it's Rich here, and I needed to have a tooth extraction and 3 implants put in my mouth. Anybody who's had dental surgery knows some of the anxiety that goes into making the decision to have it done, when and where and who is the most important question. And I decided to go with Dr. Jordan Colby over at Ocean View Dental, and I am so glad I did. If you're looking for a world-class dentist where all procedures are done in the same office, state-of-the-art technology, then look no further than my dentist, my doctor, Dr. Jordan Colby of Ocean View Dental. He can give you teeth in a day plus a winning smile. That's what happened for me. OceanViewDental.net. But yeah, here was my experience. Needed this work done. Super nervous about who to turn to. Got with my original dentist who sent me to 3 different offices, and I spent a bunch of money at appointments, getting imaging done, all to have them tell me that it was going to take 2 years to have all this work done. And it was really disappointing. And I didn't know when to start this journey onto having my teeth back. But I decided to go get a second opinion with Dr. Jordan Colby. And I'm so glad I did, because he explained my procedure. He showed me my digital picture of what the procedure entailed. And I felt 100% confident and comfortable. 3 months later, 3 months compared to a 2-year process that I was being explained by my other dentist, my former dentist. 3 months later with Dr. Jordan Colby, I had teeth. His motto is, no matter your situation, I can help you create a confident and healthy smile. His advanced specialty is implants, but after doing my homework, he's an amazing family dentist as well. So this is where my whole family gets care now. Dr. Colby has built a world-class family-oriented dental practice at Ocean View Dental. He's got one in Fallbrook as well that provides excellent dental care, personal and professional attention you and your family deserve. They have the latest advancements in dental technology, digital x-rays, 3D CT imaging. I needed both of those. Dental lasers. I'm pretty sure they used a laser on me. Invisalign veneers, so much more. At Ocean View Dental, I was treated like family because that's what it is. It's a family practice. Everybody in that place knows your name. They know what you're there for. They've got your best interests at heart. Ocean View Dental patients come from all over Southern California, and they're a full-service dental office with multiple options at their fingertips. They'll get you the smile you want in most cases in just a day. Again, go to oceanviewdental.net if you're searching for a new dentist, or if you just want to give a call and see what they're all about, oceanviewdental.net.
Big Rich, Sheedy, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Man, oh man, we are trying to jam it all in a Monday here. By the way, if you're listening on the free iHeartRadio app, don't forget to hit us up on the talkback mic, the What's Up line. Little microphone there on the lower right-hand side. Tap that mic. Send us a shout-out. Send us a message. Send us whatever you'd like to share. We'll see if we can use it on the radio here.
TD, would you consider yourself a gambling man?
You know what? I'm not much of a gambling man, to be quite honest. I'm not.
You don't get the urge?
No, mostly because when you gamble, and I think this is a pretty fair way to look at gambling, it has to be money that if you took and put in the garbage can, you wouldn't care that you put it in the garbage can.
So there's a guy in Florida who put down $500,000 into the garbage can.
That's what I'm talking about. If I guess if I had that much money where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to bet $500,000. I wouldn't care.
And so take it a step further, betting $500,000 on the Houston Texans.
Woo.
So this guy put down $500,000 on a 4-leg parlay. The first leg is the Houston Texans to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, which that would be considered an upset.
Okay.
It gets crazier. The Texans-Bengals game to go over 44.5 points, which that also hit.
Unbelievable.
Texans running back, who this is just the second game he has been the featured running back in, Devin Singletary to score a touchdown. and for Devin Singletary to go over 51.5 rushing yards.
And both of those things happened.
He needed all 4 of those things to happen to hit. And this game was in question up until the last second when CJ Stroud makes kind of a miraculous play to get them into field goal range.
Right.
They hit the field goal. They win the game. All 4 of those things happen. That $500,000 has turned into $5.5 million.
Okay. Gosh, man, that is.
You should start betting 500 grand, Travis.
Yeah, I should. However, what's odd is still at 500 grand. I mean, a $5.5 million payout. I don't know if that's a big enough payout for me to go. I'm gonna put up $500,000.
Look, especially with how close this thing came to not hitting in every single one of these categories, it's an insane bet to make. And if you are the guy who's putting down 500 grand, I want to know how much your net worth actually is.
I like to bet on games just because it makes the games a little more fun.
Oh,
you got a little skin in the game. I just can't imagine $500,000 being put on a game.
Dude, I don't know how people sweat out tickets like that. Like I'm the type of guy who, like, I will be very invested in a game if I have a $5 underdog pick'em going. Like I'll just be like, all right, come on. I just need CJ Stroud to get 4 more passing yards.
Yeah.
And I hit the 20 times multiplier.
But that's what I'm saying. Your $5 underdog pick'em turns into $200.
Oh,
So
hey, I won on underdog yesterday.
What?
Yeah.
Come on. This is, by the way, this segment is not an underdog commercial. That's just what we play.
I feel like I've been in, or this show has been in a drought lately.
Oh, big time. This NFL season has not been good for Benny Boy, but I won yesterday on a 5 pick'em. So Brock Purdy over 245 yards, Deshaun Watson over 189 yards, Christian McCaffrey over 66.5 rushing yards, Brandon Ayuk under 65.5 receiving yards, and CJ Stroud over 16 fantasy points.
So only 3 of them were Niner picks.
Right. yeah,
just 3.
But that's fine.
I mean, that's the team I know the best.
Yeah.
So.
If you sign up with promo code XTRA, you can have your first deposit doubled up to $100.
How about that?
But all I'm saying is,
boom.
No, that's good.
We're looking at a 20-time multiplier with that. With the $500,000 bet paying out $5.5 million, that's only a
10 times?
10 times.
10 times.
10 times. Well, I guess that's pretty solid.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
God. But also, it makes me want to throw up because
the dude can now go out and buy a house with the 5.5 million.
He could have bought a house with 500 grand.
Yeah, but now he can pay cash.
That's true.
But if let's just say he went to, I don't know, Nashville.
Yeah.
You could buy a pretty nice house for $500,000.
Tell you what, I know what my wife would do. She would buy so many pairs of shoes.
My God.
It would just be like
shoes and purses at our house.
And inside of each one of those shoes, I hope is a good feet arch support, because I talked to her about her back pain, which, as a former volleyball player, she's got some back pain. She had back surgery also, just like I did. Actually, when I got my good feet arch supports, I felt like there was a little jealousy there. Like, it came home and I'm like, yeah, sorry. I mean, one of us is going to feel great. No, we got her going there too. We got her over there too. And she's been feeling a lot better just like me. These arch supports are amazing. So you go to the Good Feet store. And if you're struggling with any foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, back pain, if you've been struggling for a long time and you feel like surgery is your only option, or you feel like you're heading towards a surgery at some point and you're just staving it off as long as you can, try the Good Feet store. So that was my story. Like, I had already had one back surgery, did not want to go back for a second, but it felt like it was heading in that direction because I was waking up most days with a pretty significant amount of back pain. But since going to the Good Feet store and experiencing their try before you buy routine where they measure your feet, they balance test you, they find the arch supports that perfectly fit your feet, but also the footwear that you like to wear. I walked out of there feeling different, better posture, walking taller, feeling better after long days on my feet. And slowly but surely, the back pain, it just melted away. And I had significant knee pain as well. That's gone. Hip pain, that vanished within the first 2 weeks. So if you're having lower body joint pain and you need a change, Good Feet store is for you. 200 plus locations around the United States, goodfeet.com to book your first or your next appointment with the Good Feet store. Okay, coming up next, we got to get back to this crazy slate of NFL games, a bunch of close last minute, last second finishes. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on a Monday.
This update is presented by AutoZone. Good games across the NFL in Week 10. Chargers fall to the Lions in a shootout 41-38. Browns beat the Ravens 33-31. Texans upset the Bengals. CJ Stroud, another strong game. Texans win 30-27. Kyler Murray returning from the ACL injury. He leads the Cardinals to a 25-23 win over the Falcons. And on Sunday Night Football, Raiders took down the Jets 16-12. Week 10 wraps up tonight. Denver Broncos traveling to the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. Locally, San Diego State football, they fall to Colorado State in Fort Collins 22-19. Aztecs basketball, they drop one to BYU in Provo 74-65. Aztecs hoops, they're back on the court tomorrow night at Viejas Arena. They got Long Beach State coming to town. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. We got a pair to give away on this show as well. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. So get in the zone. AutoZone.
Woo! Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And it is, as mentioned, a very busy Monday. We're not going to get to everything from this weekend, but we're going to try. Damn it, we're going to try. Okay, coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk some Aztecs football with the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs football team, Brady Hoke. Also, we have a pair of tickets to give away as men's basketball over on the Mesa takes on Cal State. No. Who are they taking on tomorrow night?
They got Long Beach tomorrow
Excuse me, Long Beach State. I almost said Cal State Fullerton. Put me in
Cal State Long Beach.
Cal State Long Beach. They're coming to Viejas Arena. The Aztecs dropped to, unfortunately, 1-1 after the road loss to the Cougars of BYU.
Was it a good enough loss?
The answer, yes. That is
right.
good.
It's a good
BYU
loss.
is going to end up being a top 25 probably this week. So BYU, looking back on that one, that's fine, especially because it's on the road. You weren't favored to win in the first place. Now, you would have liked it to be a 2-point game instead of a 7 or 8 point game, but
breaking news.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, trying to do two things at once.
Okay. I thought you stroked out for a minute.
No. So, check this out. The head coach of the San Diego State football team has just announced his retirement.
Wow.
Brady Hoke will step down after this season ends. He is speaking with the team as we speak to all of you. But San Diego State, obviously with Brady Hoke's help, made it to a recent Mountain West Conference Championship game. That was during a pandemic, probably the worst times we've ever really experienced in our lifetime in college football. Guided this team to the top of the league. But since then, obviously things, and coach has been very honest about it, haven't gone exactly the way he's hoped. And I wouldn't say as a result, he's been doing this a very long time and looking forward to a bright future of his own personally with his lovely wife Laura and his family, stepping down as head coach of the San Diego State football team. So that's the news that we were just handed moments ago.
Now, we were scheduled to speak with Coach Brady Hoke at 7:30. It looks like because he's talking with the team, we will get to speak with him. But 7:45, is that what we're looking at, guys?
Think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Coach Hoke led the team to a 12-win season. Was that a couple years ago now at this point?
Yeah, that was back in 2021, I believe. Yeah.
Coach Hoke was the head coach of the Aztecs when Snapdragon Stadium opened up. That's a big monumental occasion. And then this year, unfortunately, has not gone the way that anyone would have wanted it to. But Rich, you talked about it on the broadcast on Saturday. I talked about it on the postgame show. This season, easily, you could flip the conference record, the Mountain West record, to 4 wins, 1 loss instead of 4 wins, 1 loss, 5 wins, 1 loss.
No. So they're 1-5 in conference right now. Yeah, look, here's the deal. You look back at this game just played on the road to Colorado State. You look at Utah State, a double overtime loss for the San Diego State Aztecs. You look at Boise State, a 1-score game. you look at many of the opportunities, even in the non-conference schedule, you could make an argument very easily, instead of 3-7, this season could be 7-3. You can look at this conference record and you say they're 1-5, and you could very easily say they could be 5-1. This has been a season where things have gone really right in some ways, and obviously, as the record reflects, because it's a results-driven business, has gone more wrong than right. And I don't necessarily think that's the focus here in terms of why head coach Brady Hoke is stepping down. Maybe it's the reason for the in-season announcement, but I really feel strongly that this was something that he, I'm sure, has had many discussions with his family about, and this is a really difficult decision to decide to retire from coaching. And so, yeah, that's the news this morning. We have an announcement from the Mesa that head coach Brady Hoke is stepping down. So, yeah. So there you have it. We will have more information talking to Coach Hoke here in about 35 minutes. Again, he just addressed his football team about this, and he'll finish out the season as the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, 39-30 coach who had 2 stints separately on the Mesa, stemming back to prior to the Rocky Long years when he originally left for Michigan, and then came back during the end of the Rocky Long tenure before taking over for a second stint here. And again, heading off to a Mountain West Conference championship game in route to this season.
Rich, your time playing football, being in the locker room, if your coach announces he's retiring at the end of the season, do you feel like it's a rally for the team? Like, let's play out, let's play hard for him? Or does it feel like we're giving up?
No, I think, the first thing you said, I feel like it's more the former than the latter. I don't think there's a lot of give up in this team anyways. I think this is a bunch of hardworking kids. You go to any of their practices or watch any of their practice film, and trust me, I know not a lot of people have access to that. Those practices are closed to the public and the media, but I've gotten to go to many of them. This team works really hard, and these players are very prideful, and they care about what their coaches think of them, and they care what they think of each other. And so I expect them to go out and play the San Jose State Spartans with all their might. I don't see a team that's going to lay down as a result of an announcement like this. In fact, I think it could be a little bit of in some ways, a boost. Like, let's give Coach Hoke the send-off he deserves here as we wrap up this season.
It's tough, man.
Crying, buddy?
No, got a little. But Coach Hoke's always been really good to this show. Big fan of his as a person and as a coach, and he's been good for the San Diego State program in the years he's been here, both his first stint, then Rocky Long took over, and now Brady coming back. I think that was exciting for a lot of people, and we'll miss Coach Hoke on the Mesa, man. Yeah,
I miss him on the Mesa. I'll miss him here on this show. I do think that he's been good to SDSU, and he's been good for the city. I mean, overall.
When you look at what's happened since he's taken over this football program, I mean, I'm going to rewind the clock back to 2009. And a lot of people forget because expectations raise when things go better. And things have gotten a lot better since Coach Hoke took over. In 2009, he took over a very poor football team. They went 4-8 that first season. And then they rallied to win in 2010, 9 games. Okay. They were placed third. They went on to the Poinsettia Bowl. They won that bowl game. And that was the send-off when he took the job at Michigan. But by the way, on his staff was Rocky Long, who took over for Brady Hoke in his stead and went on to a decade of success with players like Donnell Pumphrey, who finished his career the NCAA rushing leader and backed by some of the best defenses we've ever seen come to San Diego State. Rashad Penny, a future first-round pick who dominated on the ground game and, again, continued on that success on the defensive side of the ball. And then it led us back to the Brady Hoke year in the second stint, taking over, did a nice job for the Aztecs. That 12-win season in 2021, finishing first in the conference, a win at the Frisco Bowl. And, things have tailed off a little bit since, but this is something that I think you can celebrate. It's been a decade plus of success, and it's something that really started with Brady Hoke back in 2009.
What do you think happens for Brady Hoke here at retirement? I mean, he looks like a fishing guy to me.
Yeah, I'm actually, it's a perfect question for Coach Hoke, and we'll have an opportunity to talk with him coming up later in the show.
13 straight years of bowl eligibility. That started with Brady Hoke the first time around.
No question about it. No question about it. Yeah, look, for any Aztecs fans out there who have really reveled and enjoyed a lot of success over the past 10 or 15 years since he first stepped onto the Mesa. I mean, in part or largely, it's due to Brady, the staff he's hired, the mentality that was instilled when he first took the job. And I'm sure that will be missed around Fowler Athletic Center after the season, but he will finish out the season as a head coach, announcing his retirement today. Okay, so huge news there. We have so much.
He's going to be on at 7:45, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Confirmed.
Exactly.
Okay. Great.
Huge news there. So much to get to in the NFL. So let's do it. Want to hit halftime? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it's a good spot for that. And then we'll get back to some of the storylines around the National Football League.
Well, the Cowboys' CeeDee Lamb made NFL history with an insane performance against the Giants. Lamb had 11 catches, 161 yards, and a touchdown. This was his third consecutive game that CeeDee had at least 10 catches and at least 150 yards receiving. He is now the first player in NFL history to do that. Cowboys go on to win 49-17. The Giants are terrible, by the way. Browns sneak by the Ravens 33-31. Texans beat the Bengals 30-27. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals continue to blow their draft pick as they ended up beating I can't remember who they played now. I didn't write it down.
Oh, the Cardinals?
The Cardinals played who?
The Falcons.
The Falcons. There we go.
What an anonymous game.
Yeah.
But by the way, close game, 25-23 final there, and Kyler Murray balled out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It looked absolutely insane.
He balled out.
Yeah, but he looked like he was like you're playing a video game, man.
It was back to Houdini Kyler. Biggest moment in the game. He runs backwards 20 yards and then runs for a 20-yard gain, and that puts them in field goal position.
It was incredible. Josh Jacobs lifts the Vikings past the Saints 27-19. Saints quarterback Derek Carr suffered a concussion and a right shoulder injury in the loss. Man, Derek Carr has been hit a lot. A lot.
Yeah, that New Orleans Saints team has not done a great job protecting Derek Carr. And I don't want to blame it all on the Saints offensive line, because the deal is this, like Derek Carr with that defense, I expected a lot of the Saints. I had them kind of as an out on the limb pick. I knew that this was kind of going way out there as a potential sleeper Super Bowl team out of the NFC to start the season because of how good their defense is and how much I believe in Derek Carr. He has not looked like himself in New Orleans.
No, the Saints are atop their division in the NFC South. They're 5-5. That's good enough for first place in the NFC South, because in that division you have the Bucs, the Falcons, and the Panthers.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the NFC as a whole, I mean, the Saints against the Niners, the Saints against the Eagles. Not even close. Now, what was interesting about the Saints, though, at the start of the season, it really looked like they had a number of things that if they just put it all together right, this was going to be an unbelievable team. And it was a team that you had not a lot of expectations for. So anytime they did something great, you went, hats off.
Just shows how important line play is. And when you don't have the offensive line to protect the quarterback, A, that can get in the quarterback's head, B, that can get the quarterback hurt.
Or if you have a defensive line that is just unbelievable.
Like Chase Young, Nick Bosa, those rippling quadriceps.
You guys brought it up, not me.
I'm just saying. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Did you see that Skims ad?
Well, is there going to be a Chase Young Skims ad?
I hope so.
Yeah.
God bless him.
I like Skims on Skims.
You guys are saying this as if this is something I would say. I've never said anything of the sort.
No. I'm gonna be Ben's conscious talking.
Yeah, say this is inside Ben's brain.
I am really excited they're talking about Chase Young and Skims. I was thinking about that earlier myself.
Putting words in my mouth. I didn't say this.
No, you didn't say it, but that's what's in your head, right? Ben's head.
Are they going to say Brock Purdy's name again? Because I'll tell you right now, I've got like a quoner, which is kind of like a quarter way there. You know what I'm saying? Like a quoner.
In fact, when you asked me biggest takeaway of week 10, I didn't even go to the Niners. I went to the Houston Texans.
No, yeah, on purpose though, right, Ben?
No, CJ Stroud was amazing.
We haven't even mentioned Deebo Samuel.
He scored a touchdown yesterday.
There we go. It came out of Fletcher's brain.
Did you see, by the way, and we'll be done with Niners after this, I promise, but there was a block where Trent Williams was the guy. What do they call it when the offensive lineman gets out in front? Is it pulling? So
Yeah.
Trent Williams got pulled to the left side. It was a Christian McCaffrey run, and number 31 on the defense for the Jaguars saw Trent Williams coming at him, turned around and ran the other way.
Yeah, that's a business decision.
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
that's called.
yeah.
That's wanting to like survive for your kids and
Trent
your
Williams-
grandkids one day.
He was asked about it after the game, and he said, I've never seen anyone run away like that before on the NFL field. But the game was already out of hand. It was like that guy literally just said, I don't want to touch that person running at me.
I don't blame him because you put a corner, especially or safety in certain cases, in a real predicament when you're 300 plus pounds and you're running out with a full head of steam, because they have to decide, am I going to try to juke this guy out of his shoes and make him miss? Am I going to try to meet him with force and try to play through him into the ball carrier? Or is he going to dive at my legs? Like that's always a choice that you have in the
Or
open
is he
field.
just going to kill me?
Yeah, or just
Now-
truck you.
The question for you, Rich, have you ever played with an offensive lineman that's that fast? Because Trent Williams out in front of Christian McCaffrey's at a full sprint. Trent Williams is still in front of him.
I played with some freakish athletes. Yeah, there have been some guys who are equally fast. I've never played with an offensive lineman. I played with some good offensive linemen. Logan Mankins was a man. That guy as an offensive guard, he could beat up anybody. Like he had these giant meat hooks for hands. So yeah, I've had some experiences with some guys, but Trent Williams is just a different type of animal altogether. He's big, he's fast, he's physical, he's smart. He's athletic. When he gets out there on those poles, like on some of those sweep plays, he can really do it all. But yeah, listen, we will get back to this at Brock Talk post show.
But with the Niners, though, just looking at their schedule here, honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
so they got the Bucks, they got the Seahawks, who they're tied for in the conference right now. Which, I mean, I imagine that's a win. I would imagine Bucks is a win. Then they play the Eagles December 3rd. Then they got the Seahawks again, and then Cardinals, Ravens on Christmas morning. That could be a bad Christmas morning for you, Fletch. Commanders, Rams. I mean, they could run the rest of the table here.
It's possible. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars, all the nice things you say about a team before a game, you have to say about a team after a game. I think the Jaguars are a good football team. I really do think the Jaguars defensively, even given this game, like look what the 49ers did to the Steelers. Like, are the Steelers a bad defense? The answer is no. I think the Jaguars defense is fine. I think they win against like a wrecking machine coming off a bye week. Kyle Shanahan off a bye is also a problem for most of the NFL. He has a very Andy Reid-esque feel coming off of bye weeks, which, if anybody has ever done the research on Andy Reid, he has this incredible winning record after bye weeks. And Kyle Shanahan feels like that type of coach. Give him some time, healthy weapons. It's going to look pretty good. Staying in the NFC, are the Cowboys for real? Like, are we buyers on the Cowboys after taking care of business, taking out the trash with the Giants?
Fletch's smirk on his face.
The Cowboys are really good against bad teams. They have beat up on them all year long, including twice against the New York Giants. The only bad team they lost to and got embarrassed by were the Arizona Cardinals, who at the time had a little juice to them. The Cowboys are very good against teams that are not very good. Put the Cowboys in any sort of game. When you look at the NFC postseason picture, talk about the Vikings, talk about the Niners, talk about the Eagles. I don't trust the Cowboys against any of them.
Yeah, the Cowboys do not give me any kind of comfort of, this is a team that can go in and roll against anybody. I do not have that feeling, and I haven't had that feeling in years. And Dak Prescott has actually been good, but in the same token that Russell Wilson's actually been pretty good, except Russell Wilson still finds a way to lose a game. Dak Prescott, I just have no faith in the guy.
I went to a website called Sharp Football Analysis. So this is hosted by Warren Sharp, smart guy. And he posted this article about the easiest strength of schedule based on Vegas win totals. 49ers have the fourth easiest schedule in the NFL.
Wow.
We'll take it.
Wow.
So, I mean, for everything you're saying about the Cowboys, if this is accurate, which it's based on a data point. It's not based on the most important data point.
The most important data point here is when the 49ers played against the Cowboys, they beat them 42-10.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Right.
For the last 3 years, every time they faced in the postseason, the 49ers have kicked the crap out of them.
Wait, what does it show the Cowboys schedule at?
Kind of right on that median line. Like they're ranked
Really?
14th most difficult schedule. So not entirely difficult. Like apparently the Patriots have the most difficult schedule in the NFL.
The Cowboys started out against the Giants, then they played the Jets, then they lost to the Cardinals. They played the Patriots, who
those are four like
terrible
teams.
Yeah, then they just got the snot kicked out of them by the Niners. Then they played the Chargers, then the Rams, then the Eagles. Then they got the Giants again, and then they play the Panthers, and then the Commanders.
So,
I have questions with this list.
The data point, again, going back to this is the Vegas win totals for the season. So it's a data point. It's not the most important data point. But again, steering it back to, the point of the NFL is to win football games. And it's like the Eagles, we still consider one of the elite teams in the NFL. Well, if they lose a handful of these narrow victories they've had so far this season, we think of the Eagles completely differently.
They'd be trash.
Which, by the way, are they a good team or a bad team? It's literally down to a handful of plays that they got right and the opponents they faced got wrong. And that's the reason why we consider them one of the best in the NFL this year, as opposed to maybe a mediocre team or maybe a bad team this year.
Well, finding a way to win makes you a good team. So even if you're playing terrible against a team that is terrible, but you figure out how to win the game, you're still a good team.
Yeah, it is a skill. It is a skill to find ways to win. There's no question about it.
Rich, something you brought up earlier, Andy Reid off a bye, 27-4, including the postseason. By the way, the Chiefs were on their bye this week. So next week, I would bet the Chiefs.
Yeah, who are they facing? Let's actually look that up really quick. Kansas City Chiefs, because whoever it is about to get handed an L in a big way. They face the Eagles.
Primetime Monday Night Football, baby.
Whoa. That is going to be a fun one.
God, put that game into my veins and stop it with this Aiden O'Connell, Zach Wilson bull.
Whoa. That was a good Sunday night.
No, it was not.
Right? There were a lot of people watching my show after Sunday Night Football on NBC last night.
You looked good. You looked very skinny.
The last 2.5 minutes were very intriguing.
I watched that game while I was in the news bay. I'm like, fellas, I think we're going to be talking to ourselves tonight.
So we got to take a break, but I'll just throw this out there. Primetime games the rest of the way. You have the ability to flex. Start flexing. No more anonymous quarterback games. I'm over it. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it.
Okay. All right.
Tonight we get Josh Allen, Russell Wilson. I'll take that any day of the week.
I like that match.
Aiden O'Connell and Zach Wilson. Give me a break.
Well, let's break that down a little bit next here, because I got a sneaky feeling the Bills ain't that good.
I love it. Okay, all right. We got a big Monday nighter coming up tonight. Broncos, Bills, we'll get to that. But first, the car you drive says a lot about your life. It says a lot about you. So you want a reliable vehicle. Trust me, because I've been there. I can't tell you how many times I was late for things in the car I used to own, because I would have breakdowns. And nobody believes you when you say your car is broken down. Everybody rolls their eyes and they go, yeah, okay, I got a bridge to sell you also. I got it real cheap. It's the worst feeling in the world. Well, if you go to your San Diego County Toyota dealers, they're going to get you hooked up with a reliable vehicle. It's actually mission number one with Toyota is reliability. And I found that with the 4Runner that I drive, that my family enjoys. Tons of space. I've talked to you guys about this before. We love it. It's the ultimate family car for us. But find yours at one of your San Diego County's Toyota dealers. There's many around San Diego County. When I talk about reliability, I talk about like first in class customer service you can rely on. I talk about their great service and repair team at any of your San Diego County dealers that has a garage. I'm talking about the attention you receive from a Toyota dealer anytime you bring your car back with any issue. And I've had very few. I basically put gas in this thing and I put a little oil in it every 3 months and it drives like a tank. It's exactly what I was looking for. But they have a full fleet of electrified vehicles if you're looking to go green with their Beyond Zero lineup. If you're looking for a truck, the new Tacomas and the new Tundras are absolutely awesome. I just saw a Tundra on the road driving next to me, parked, or I should say stopped at a red light, and I was envious. All of a sudden I had truck envy. I'm sitting in my small SUV and I'm like, ooh, that Tundra, it's just staring me down. It's going to be the next purchase. I promise you that. But yeah, any of their cars or trucks or SUVs at Toyota are worth a look. and they have a full line coming out in 2024, soon to be released. Check them out at Toyota.com. Get yourself in a Toyota today, or San Diego County Toyota dealers. Okay, coming up next, we got a big Monday nighter. We'll break it down on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
This update is presented by AutoZone. We got breaking news this morning as locally the San Diego State football head coach Brady Hoke has announced that he will retire at the end of the season. Coach Hoke going to be joining the show here in about 15 minutes. Good games across the NFL in Week 10. Chargers fall to the Lions in a shootout 41-38. Browns beat the Ravens 33-31. Texans upset the Bengals. Final score 30-27. Kyler Murray returns to lead the Cardinals to a 25-23 win over the Falcons. And on Sunday Night Football, Raiders beat the Jets 16-12. Week 10 will wrap up tonight. Denver Broncos traveling to the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. So get in the zone. AutoZone.
Big Rashidi and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Yeah, Coach Brady Hoke announcing he's retiring. Usually joins us on Monday at 7:30, but because of what is happening, got pushed back a little bit. He will be joining us here in about 12 minutes. So stay tuned. We will be talking with Coach Hoke and getting his thoughts, his feelings, and just seeing how he's doing here on the announcement of retirement.
I think there's probably a sense of relief there, right?
You would think so. You would think so. And I'm sure, I mean, this has been obviously thought of for quite some time. Announcing your retirement's a big deal. So, yeah, you would think that just the fact that, hey, okay, I'm finally made a decision on it would be a relief in some manner, at least. Also, we do still have Aztec tickets to give away. Basketball, that is, versus Long Beach State. They're going to be playing tomorrow night, Viejas Arena. Go Aztecs.com for tickets and info there. We also have a family 4-pack of Legoland tickets. Legoland holidays are here, presented by Hallmark Channel. So keep it locked in for all those giveaways. Should we do a pair this segment? Should we do
so.
All right. Okay. So in the next few minutes, got to keep it locked in, pal.
Yeah. CD, Rich, did you guys have the same feeling I had last night watching that game, that like bad quarterback play in primetime football should not go hand in hand anymore 10 weeks into the season?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yes. However, if a couple weeks ago you said Josh Dobbs is going to be on Monday Night Football, you'd go, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should flex this. Yeah.
Well, it's a good point. Like, Aiden O'Connell is an unproven commodity at this level. Antonio Pierce is an interesting storyline. The Raiders move on to their second win after removing Josh McDaniels from the role. So there is some intrigue, and also the Raiders, huge brand. The New York Jets, huge brand. So obviously, those two things aligning on a primetime game, it's a tough one to flex out, but I get what you're saying. When you have some of easily the most exciting finishes of the NFL season in the early slate, and then here on the West Coast, that 1:00 slate, and then you kind of have a stinker on Sunday night, where for a half it sort of felt like a rock fight, and then finally they started playing football. I get what you're saying, but tonight sets up to be a pretty good one. And by the way, if anybody's listening and they're used to hearing the Brady Hoke coaches report, today things are a little different. Just announced by San Diego State, head coach Brady Hoke is going to announce his retirement. He already has, rather. So he will be retiring at the conclusion of the 2023 football season here on the Mesa. He'll join us in just a few minutes at 7:45. So if you're interested in listening to that interview, just stick around for a little bit longer. And we have a pair of tickets coming up here in just a few moments. Okay. So tonight, Bills, Broncos. You got the Buffalo Bills, underwhelming season. They've had some good, they've had some bad. Very similar with the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton, I think he's gotten the most he could out of Russell Wilson, but it hasn't looked perfect.
No, the Bills don't quite have it together. Whether there is some dysfunction on the team or dysfunction between Josh Allen and his coach, I don't know what it is, but something is not quite clicking over there in Buffalo, because in my personal opinion, the Bills should be one of the best teams in the league. I mean, Josh Allen, look, I mean, the start of the season, well, yeah, I don't know, start of each season here the past couple of years, I've looked at the Bills and gone, they're going to be insanely good, and they just cannot keep it together.
Yeah. Sean McDermott on the hot seat, head coach of the Bills?
No. I don't think so. Do you think so?
I think it might be warm, maybe lukewarm at the very best.
Really?
It's not cold, that's for sure. Now, Sean McDermott, if this team, say, sputters, doesn't make the postseason, when you look at having one of the best rosters in the NFL, like, you wake up this morning, the Bills are not in the postseason if the season ended right now. So if Sean McDermott with this roster, with Josh Allen, with Stephon Diggs, with a defense that's tops of some categories statistically, that's not a good look for a head coach.
Well, what about the Bengals? I mean, everything you just said about the Bills, you could say about the Bengals.
Eyeball test.
I'm
when
just
you
saying.
look at the Bengals, you see a good team, a Super Bowl contender. When you look at the Bills right now, you see dysfunction.
The last time that the Bills lost at home was exactly 1 year ago, November 13, 2022 versus Minnesota. So they got a pretty good track record at home. However, I'm feeling there may be a little bit of an upset here.
All right. We want to make room for Travis and his insane weight loss, but also the head coach, Brady Hoke, on the other side.
Very important. Just if you could wrap it up, I'd like to talk about my insane weight loss.
Yeah. No. Look, that takes priority.
It does.
Yeah. But we will get to the Brady Hoke coach report here in just a moment. But first, I got to say something.
Mm-hmm.
That new belt you had to buy.
Yeah.
First of all, well done.
Yeah,
Good
thank
choice.
you.
Second of all, you had to put an extra hole in your old belt.
Yeah, which then it ended up tearing as I put the old hole in it. So whoops. But yeah, I had to cinch up a little bit. Actually, I had to go buy new jeans. I was down a size on my pants. This is incredible. In fact, there was a headline I saw this morning. The holiday season really is the worst time of year for dieting, but not with SDFatLoss.com. No. This is because SDFatLoss.com has shown us, hey, look, you can diet. You can still eat food you like to eat. And this is how you do it. The coaches, the staff over there, Wayne and Chloe, they dial you in. I mean, you'll go to SDFatLoss.com. You will sign up for a free consultation. And when you chat with them, they'll tell you, hey, okay, this is your body type. This is what you need to do to lose weight quickly. This is how much food you can eat. And this is the food that you do need to eat. And just follow along here because we're going to help you out along the way. In fact, I mean, that I think is the biggest part, having a coach there with you along the way, someone to check in on you, someone to make sure you're doing things the correct way. That is how you succeed with SDFatLoss.com. And I'll tell you what, the first couple weeks, just like any diet, you got to roll through it. It's a little bit tough. I'm not going to lie. After that, it just becomes a lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so do the program like we did. Lost 30 pounds in just over 8 weeks, doing that maintaining phase now and doing well.
Yeah.
Doing well, hanging on, hanging in. So no exercise required. We didn't have to count points or calories and take any injections. We didn't do any of that stuff. We tried that stuff, or at least I did. Didn't work for me. SDFatLoss.com. It works. Like I said, 30 pounds gone in 8 weeks. So go there right now, SDFatLoss.com.
Awesome stuff. 844-570-1360. The number to call right now is 844-570-1360. A 4-pack of tickets to Legoland, California. Legoland Holidays is here, presented by Hallmark Channel. Celebrate November 18th through January 7th with festive characters, shows, food, snow, and more. Visit Legoland.com/California for details. Caller number 5 wins the 4-pack of tickets to Legoland. And coming up next, the Brady Hoke Coaches Report on the Big Rich TD and Fletch program.
We're getting the latest Aztecs news from the man in charge. This is the Brady Hoke Report, driven by the San Diego Toyota dealers. If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, make sure to visit Toyota.com. There you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. We make it easy.
And as we do every single Monday morning of the college football season, we are joined by Brady Hoke, head football coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, but this day, very unlike many others, because instead of focusing on just 1 week of football and looking ahead to the next, we focus on a career. We focus on somebody who came to San Diego State originally and changed around a culture in a major way. Brady Hoke took over the San Diego State football program in 2009, adopting a team that really was struggling, okay, to put that kindly. And created a culture here and instilled a mentality that still exists on the Mesa. And in 2010, won 9 games onto a Poinsettia Bowl, and really the program hasn't looked back since. That was a win, and that went on to a 13-game bowl streak that continues on, and only as of last week was snuffed with the loss on the road to Colorado State. But it has been an incredible run here as head coach Brady Hoke joins us just an hour after announcing to his team that he's stepping down as the head football coach at the conclusion of the season. So, Coach, I don't really know where to start, but I'll do my best to guide our way through this one. How you feeling this morning?
Well, very, very emotional. In a lot of ways, because, you think back of all the teams that you've coached and the thousands of young men that you've been part of their lives and, hopefully help them, understand life and what the real world is. And so, that part of it is always and the one thing, Rich, we're going to do, we're going to finish this thing. We're not, we're going to finish out the next 2 games, and that's what Aztecs do. And so we're preparing for San Jose, and we'll go out and practice and get ready to go. But it's, there's things that, we're really proud of. Obviously, 12 wins here 2 years ago. The most wins in any season is kind of a neat thing. That was a great football team, and especially when you look at that football team and playing up at Carson for 2 years. And, those seniors and how they led and how they did a great job. But all of them, there's special things about every class, every, I'm getting texts from guys that I coached a long time ago at Western Michigan and have been, part of our lives, and we're really touched that they've been part of our lives.
Yeah, Coach, we were talking about it last hour of we knew that you were going to finish this thing and going to finish it strong. So we're looking forward to that. But retirement means a little me time for you, Coach. What does retirement look like? I was guessing fishing.
If it is, it will be on Lake Erie. And do some walleye fishing. We've done a lot of that over when I was coaching at Western and Toledo and Michigan, and used to go at least 4 weekends in the summer and in spring and do some walleye fishing. But we're going to enjoy each other. And one thing as a coach, Travis, you spend more time with other people's children than your own. And, our daughter, Kelly, who means the world to us, we're going to, spend some time and really, appreciate what we have and what we've done.
Coach, if you go all the way back to the 70s, your playing career at Ball State till 2023, today, your life has been dedicated to football. And when someone dedicates their life to something, it means they're truly passionate and they truly love it. So I guess it's impossible to put into phrase, but what does football mean to you?
Well, it's the greatest team game there is. When 11 guys have to play together, It is a game that teaches unbelievable life lessons more than I believe any other, because of counting on 11 guys. We got guys from different backgrounds and different, social, economical, whatever, that, they play together. And that's the only way you win, is when you play together and when you push each other. And, I've had great mentors, Lloyd Carr and Gary Moeller, Dan Simmerall. Guys who really, Bob Geesey, who taught me, different things. Jerry Pettibone at Oregon State, how to recruit, because he was one of the great recruiters at Oklahoma, for Barry Switzer. And so, just a lot of guys that, it means so much. And, I'm very fortunate and very grateful, and to have the wife that I have, who has put up with the hours and the work. It's my wife Laura, and it's been awesome. And I'm thinking about Bar Cart Friday.
Yes.
You're welcome anytime.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. After the finale against Fresno State, could we get it on the books? Could you make an appearance on the Friday after that game, or are you going to be busy doing like fun stuff and retiring and doing all that?
I'll be packing some boxes.
Okay.
I'm thinking that you guys will come here and help me clean my office out.
Now you're talking. We'll bring the beers.
We can broadcast live as we pack boxes with Coach Brady Hoke.
And we'll have Manny. Manny will be with us.
Right.
Well, we can't be without Manny.
Yeah.
We absolutely will be bringing our on-site engineer, Manny Valencia. Listen, I know you don't like to talk about yourself, so I'm going to do it for you. We're talking to Brady Hoke, who is the MAC Conference Coach of the Year back in 2008 when his team won the championship out there. We're talking to the two-time Mountain West Coach of the Year back in 2010 when he took a team that looked desperate the years prior to a Poinsettia Bowl and a win after a 9-win season. The 2021 Mountain West Coach of the Year after bringing an Aztecs team coming out of a pandemic to the championship game and winning the west side of the division, the Western Division of the conference, and also Big Ten Coach of the Year in 2011. Letters and accomplishments to your name, Coach. You brought a lot of those on your way back to the Mesa in 2009. How did you change around this program? Because I think what a lot of people forget is prior to you arriving on the Mesa, it was pretty bleak for the Aztecs football team. And a cultural shift occurred in 2009 that you started and instilled, that Rocky Long continued. And then when you took over after Rocky, obviously kept the flame alive. How did you change that culture back in 2009?
Well, I played for a guy named Dave McClain, and then who went on from Ball State to be the head coach at Wisconsin, and really before Alvarez brought Wisconsin back. And Coach McClain and the culture that he instilled in us at Ball State. Then, I was at Michigan as an assistant coach. And Gary Moeller and Lloyd Carr, and just the character that we wanted to have as a football team, the culture we wanted to have as a football team, and it all started with toughness. And I was really fortunate because Bo Schembechler was alive at that time still. In fact, his office was right down the hall because he still had an office in the football complex, and it was always having the opportunity. He'd either walk in your office and unannounced, but it's Bo Schembechler, and he'd come in and say, "Hokie, what do we got going?" And I think that Glenn Steele kid, he's tough, but you got to get him tougher. And so everything has always been about how you want to play and the toughness that you want to have as a football team. And when you're tough mentally, it breeds being tough physically and a tough-minded individual. And that toughness also speaks to the real world because it's tough. There's things that happen, and I think, like I said, the game of football teaches you so much that we try and expose our players to. And so, I'm proud of the kids that we have on our football team, and we're going to finish for them, and we're going to finish for those seniors.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned how many lives that you were able to touch over the course of the years, thousands of different students. We just want to say thanks, man, because you got 3 guys over here, 3 lives you've touched as well. You've always been so good to us, and look, you're on another level, man, and we appreciate you, and we're happy we got a couple more weeks. We can still do this with you.
I appreciate it, TD. You guys have been great.
We appreciate you. Aztecs had not had a winning season since 1998 before Brady Hoke came back to the program in 2009. A culture shifted, and a lot of greatness and a lot of fond memories over that span of time since. And Coach, we'll continue on here. We know there's work to be done this season, but we appreciate your time on a very important day in your coaching career. Awesome chat, and we'll do it again in a week.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you so much, and appreciate you. And I'll have to look at bar card. I'll look at the schedule.
That sounds good. Yeah, please do. Yeah, and get back to us. We'll have our people call your people.
Okay.
There he goes. Head coach Brady Hoke for the last few times as the head coach with the San Diego State Aztecs football team, as we mentioned, as announced here on the Brady Hoke Coaches Report, and also earlier in the show. Brady Hoke stepping down as the head coach of this football program at the conclusion of this season. So there it is. It's the Brady Hoke Coaches Report, brought to you by San Diego County Toyota Dealers. If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, make sure to visit toyota.com. There you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. We make it easy. Okay. Ben just mentioned it, Fletch, just moments ago, that he was playing underdog this weekend. He had a big win. Bob, our listener, he's DMing me constantly on Instagram because he used promo code XTRA and he got in on the underdog this season, and he's got a big win. Now, if you're confused as to what I'm talking about, Underdog Fantasy is the fantasy app you need to download if you're into fantasy football or fantasy basketball. So the NBA season is here. No easier way to get in on the action than Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Super easy. You can win real money. Choose between 2 and 5 players. Select if they'll go higher or lower on their stats, and then just watch the games. You could win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. Build your dream team today. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app, UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code XTRA. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Plus, new customers will have a mystery special pick in their pick'em lobby. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code XTRA. First deposit of $10 or more, doubled up to $100 plus the special pick in the pick'em lobby. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLING or visit ncpgambling.org. We get back to the manic, the insane, the mania of the NBA, or I should say the NFL Sunday slate on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
This update is presented by AutoZone. We will start off here with some breaking news from this morning locally. San Diego State football head coach Brady Hoke has announced that he will retire at the end of this season. Coach Hoke, he joined the show at 7:45. If you missed it, it will be up on the free iHeartRadio app as soon as we get off the air today. Good games across the NFL in Week 10. Chargers fall to the Lions in a shootout 41-38. As the text line requested, I will answer, suck it, Dean. Browns beat the Ravens 33-31. Texans upset the Bengals behind another big game from rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud. Texans win 30-27. Kyler Murray, he returns to lead the Cardinals to a 25-23 win over the Falcons. And on Sunday Night Football, the Raiders beat the Jets 16-12. Monday Night Football tonight, Broncos traveling to the Buffalo Bills. That will wrap up Week 10. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. So get in the zone, AutoZone.
Woo! Welcome to your Monday edition, and happy Monday to those who celebrate. We are loopy right now. Well, at least I am.
I'm a little dizzy. I just did like that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air head thing. It made me a little dizzy.
Speaking of, on last Thursday when we were out at Warrior Foundation Freedom Station 2, did you guys happen to like take a look around that little quad area every time Rich screamed?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
There were
notice.
a bunch of very full-hearted volunteers who got the crap scared out of them every single hour.
Probably should have announced that there would be some shouting when we showed up. I heard from several people that we made a scene.
What they expect?
Wait, hold on. I got a message saying they loved you guys.
No, that I got that message too, but then there were a lot of, let's just put it this way, some of the other quote unquote talent who was on the scene, like that Eddie Papani from Rock 105.3, who I still owe a drop kick to the chops.
Wow, Eddie, jealous much?
LaDonna Harvey traipsing around, and she says we made a scene every time she walked past our booth, our stage. She was making a scene. We were like, everybody, LaDonna Harvey.
That's right, yeah. Everybody. There she goes.
Kogo News.
There she goes.
We're so nice to all these people, and they're so mean to us.
As they were having little fireside chats. And we were up on the stage, clearly, Warrior Foundation, which you can still donate, warriorfoundation.org, looked at us as the focal point of the event.
Understood, and well played by them. So it is a very happy Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you here. We just got off the horn there with Brady Hoke. So Brady Hoke announced to his team in the 7:00 hour that he is stepping down after this year. He is retiring as head football coach of the San Diego State Aztecs football team. Got an opportunity to catch up with him. And look, I understand a lot of people are very focused still on what happened in Fort Collins this weekend, the Aztecs football season. But, I really do feel this way, especially when you're discussing retirement, especially when you're discussing somebody stepping away from something that inarguably is a life's work, like coaching football for Coach Hoke. You can't take a slim window and levy all the judgment right there and say, like right here, this 2023 football season, like that's how I'm going to judge. Like I try to take the long view. And so if you rewind the clock back to 2008, when the Aztecs were a 2-win football team and they hadn't enjoyed a winning season since 1998, you had a decade of dismal performances, and then Brady Hoke took over this football program and improved them to 4 wins, and then improved them to 9 wins before leaving for Michigan, and then coming back later to win, or I should say, to win the West Division of the Mountain West, and go on in 2021 to host the Mountain West Conference Championship game. Of course, something like 20 players were on COVID protocol that game, so they lost to Utah State. But you take the long view and you look at what work has been done in that time span. And I feel like San Diego in large part owes a debt of gratitude for him not only coming to the Mesa in the first place, but bringing in a staff that eventually led this team to a decade's worth of success.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes it takes a couple years removed, in order for you to see the entire body of work as you stand a little bit further away from it. But I mean, it's like if you were talking about the New England Patriots who are struggling this season, and you based the entire tenure of Bill Belichick on his final season, I'm not saying it's Belichick's final season, but Brady Hoke, who they've had a tough go at it this year. And also, man, when teams are successful, good pieces go to other places to make them more successful. So Brady Hoke has had to go season after season putting things together because he's good at it.
Yeah. Aztecs are better off, and San Diego's better off for having Brady Hoke in the fold. When you think about back to 1977 when he was a linebacker at Ball State, Rich, I think
about that often.
I know, but yeah. Rich, he's opened up to you and John on the hour-long coaches show on Wednesday nights that he was a corrections officer, or no, what was he, a probation officer for a while?
Wow.
And then he ended up leaving that job and going to coach a high school for almost no money. So having to have that conversation with his wife and tell her that I'm leaving this high-paying government job where we have benefits, we have salary, and I'm going to coach high school football for almost no money. And her just saying, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, since then, there's been no gaps on the resume. So Brady Hoke has been consistently working since he took over at Yorktown High School in Indiana, and he's been coaching ever since. So when you look at a day like today, and when we chatted with Brady Hoke, the conversation was never going to be about, well, what's happened this year. No, the conversation is about his career and what he's done for the city of San Diego, and more importantly, the culture he installed at San Diego State that's been a winning culture for 13 years. Mm-hmm. So Brady Hoke, a round of applause for you. Thank you for everything you've done to San Diego. And thank you for always being so cool when we've chatted.
And I also feel like our last conversation with him that we should ask why he hits the keypad so often.
Oh, do you mean during the beeps on the phone calls?
Yeah, during the phone calls.
I think I figured it out because when we had him on the cell phone that one day when he was going to the dentist office, remember there was no beeps?
Oh, yeah.
This has to be a San Diego State phone problem. Like it's either incoming calls or something.
Somebody else is just like smashing their hand on the keypad.
Because I believe he leaves us on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be hard. You'd actually have to physically press a button.
We have a bunch of texts that have rolled in during the interview with Coach Hoke. And if you want to listen to that, it'll be up at the free iHeartRadio app as soon as this show ends. Ben always loads the podcast, so you'll be able to hear that interview. But yeah, Coach, thank you for your service and commitment. This from one of our texters. We as fans admire your dedication and mentality in making this program the best it could be. Wish you the best in retirement. Live life to the fullest. Go Aztecs. Another one. Finish strong in these last two. Still got a lot to fight for. Continue the battle. Thanks to us for interviewing Coach on the big day. Look, we were happy to.
Yeah. No
thanks are needed. And to be a small footnote in what is one of the more important days of his football coaching career, I feel honored, frankly, because again, if you look back to what this program looked like pre-Brady Hoke in 2008 and the decade that preceded that, and you look at this program after he came to the Mesa, things are much better, and expectations obviously rise. And when you have a higher tide, obviously you need to try to keep a program at that level. And for obvious reasons, there's a lot of fans out there, and I want to give them voice too, because we've seen those text messages as well as today, who are frustrated with what's happened with the Aztecs football team over the past couple of seasons. And we get that too. I think one of my favorite things about seeing a great movie is understanding that they left a lot of good on the editing room floor. Right.
All right.
I'm a big fan of good editing, and it is really difficult when it's your career or it's your movie or it's your book you're writing or it's your job to know when to edit. And so he's choosing his own ending. And I think you got to give a ton of respect to somebody who understands the situation and has ultimately made a great choice in editing.
Yeah, and 913 also asking who takes over, and I think it might be Rich. No.
Throw on that headset, big boy. Get out of the booth and onto the field.
Come on. Wait, and then is it cool if we come down to the
You
field?
can Jeff Saturday this mofo all the way till the chickens come home.
Yep,
Can
one
you
win.
Imagine the disaster of having your color analyst also try to head coach.
I feel like it seems right.
All right, let's do the interview. TD, you and I are in the athletic office at San Diego State.
All right.
Now, Mr. Ornberger, we've seen on social media, there's videos of you talking about a story where you purposefully ran into a church van to avoid being late. Now, will this be a situation where you'll be late to our offices frequently, and as an excuse, you run into church vans?
I plan on sleeping here. If there's one thing I'm going to institute immediately upon taking over as head coach of the San Diego State football program is I'm going to put beds in every office. We are going to have sleepovers. It's not going to be like how you hear, all these coaches, they sleep at the office. Like, we're going to have fun here. Pillow fights, hot chocolate, movie nights. Okay. Scary movies around the Halloween season because October does happen during the football season.
It's spooky season.
So yeah, no worries about me being late to any meeting. I will be moving in.
Son of a gun, TD. This guy's good. We can check that box.
Yeah, he's real good. Also, Rich, looking over your resume here, a lot of twerking in the past. Curious how much twerking will play a role here with the Aztecs.
I can make a promise and a firm commitment, and I really honestly feel a dutiful and purposeful fire inside my soul to continue twerking now and here into the future. I mean, and if possible, when possible, while upside down doing a handstand leaning against the wall.
That sounds like America. Look, Fletch, I'm in on this guy.
Whose turn is it? I'm on Mars right now.
Breaking news, Rich Ornberger will not be the next head coach at San Diego State.
What? I thought we just hired him.
I don't think so.
Damn it.
So we had tons of good games across the NFL in week 10.
But
Ended
for
up
free
being one of
food.
the better weeks of the season. The text line has requested this, so I'll do it. They asked for a big suck it, Dean. Well, here it goes. Suck it, Dean!
Wow. Okay.
Chargers lose to the Lions in a shootout 41-38. Ended up being a really great game. Justin Herbert, by the way, has set a record for the most passing yards in a career through 4 seasons.
Wow.
Can you imagine a better quarterback with a worse surrounding? I feel bad for Justin Herbert. I really do. Texans upset the Bengals
CJ
behind
Stroud,
another
maybe.
big game. Rookie quarterback CJ Stroud, another huge game. 30-27 win for the Texans. Kyler Murray returns from the ACL injury. He leads the Cardinals to a 25-23 win. Aztecs basketball, they fall to BYU over the weekend in Provo. So that series, the home and homes that they've had, it's been 6 straight years. It finishes 3-3 with the home team winning the majority of those matchups. But now with the BYU being in the Big 12, that matchup might not be a thing moving forward. San Diego State football loses, and just announced this morning, Brady Hoke has announced he will retire at the end of this season. Coach Hoke, he joined the show at 7:45. If you missed it, it'll be up on the free iHeartRadio app.
PYT, pretty young thing. I want to love you. TLC 1011. I don't know. Sorry. Whenever there's any
What
3
the
initials
Hell.
thrown out there, I immediately go to
I-
PYT.
You know what you have to do.
Do we even have to
Golly.
I
point?
mean, yeah. You know, this might be a busy day for you.
What was the 3 initial name?
TD is taking a lap. Look, the problem is we don't know how his brain works still. We've been working with him for over a year. And there are times where he starts speaking. I'm like, all right, where's he going to land this plane?
And just God forbid anyone, we need to take his phone away during the show too, because he gets a text message and all of a sudden it's red on air.
Yeah.
Like, thank God Jamie didn't text him. Jamie was San Diego State.
That's
Like,
a little inside, but yeah, that is probably for the best.
Always getting longer.
TD's back. He has not learned his lesson. I can promise you that. Did you guys see the post game scene inside the Raiders locker room?
yeah, it felt like a Raiders locker room.
Dude, yeah.
Right.
So, second week in a row, they're having a cigar celebration. It looks like a Vegas locker room should.
1,000,000%.
Clouds of
Which-
smoke.
I mean, I'm all in.
Now, okay, is there any old man yelling at crowd or clouds take in your guys' head about this team? Because it's not like they're world beaters. They've won 2 games in a row.
No.
This is clearly a little bit of swagger coming out. I think I'm a fan of it, but part of me also wants to be like, what the hell are you guys celebrating for?
Yeah. Okay. Are they a playoff team?
I don't know.
I don't
Not
know
right
either.
now.
No, I mean, okay. As far as the caliber of team, no, they're not a
What,
playoff
they're
team.
5-5?
They're 5-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all of a
It's a
sudden,
lot better than I thought it'd be.
all of a sudden, the
Yeah.
Raiders could be a playoff team. Do I think they'll go anywhere in the playoffs? No. But I mean, there's a possibility they sneak in.
I mean, dude, okay, so the playoff, by the way, the NFL this year is anybody's league. But if you look at the playoff bracket as it stands, Chiefs in first place, Ravens, then Jaguars, right? Who just had that punishing loss to the San Francisco 49ers.
Say it slower.
Dolphins in fourth place. All of them right now division leaders. And then it gets interesting. Pittsburgh Steelers at a 6-3 record. The Cleveland Browns at a 6-3 record. And the Browns just snuck away with a victory against the Baltimore Ravens, who on paper, if there was a game where I was pretty sure I knew the outcome of it, I would say Baltimore beating Cleveland was the game.
Right.
And go figure, Deshaun Watson leads an insane come from behind second half, and they get the victory.
Against a team that Lamar Jackson said, hey, this defense is perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Well, not exactly perfect. I mean, great.
On
but
the outside looking in after the Browns. Okay, so seventh place right now, it's the Houston Texans. On the outside looking in, the Bengals and the Bills.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, with 5-5 records, you got the Colts and the Raiders sort of hanging in the balance too. But I mean, the Raiders have the same amount of wins as the Bills and the Bengals.
Dude, it's wild, is what it is. The AFC is by far so much more entertaining than the NFC is, which as a Niners fan, I'm a little grateful for. But the AFC, this bloodbath, this Hunger Games of them all picking each other off, it's going to make for one of the most fascinating NFL finishes to a regular season we've ever seen. And it's all going to be one-sided.
Okay, what division do you feel like is stronger right now?
I don't ask me this question.
In the NFC?
It has to be the Bengals division.
I'm sorry, what conference?
Has
the
to be
NFC or the AFC?
Oh, AFC.
Yeah.
The AFC is stronger.
Close. Now, the NFC is way more top-heavy. So you got a couple teams in the NFC and the Niners and the Eagles that you feel like could win a Super Bowl this year. But in the AFC, it's such a crapshoot that I just hope they don't all beat themselves up to the point where the Super Bowl is dealing with an injured AFC side versus a healthy NFC side.
Too late.
And it also sort of feels like the whole conference is stronger to the point where when you do get down to the wild card games or the wild card teams, and then the fight on the verge of getting in, like the Bills and Bengals looking up at, for example, the Texans, the Steelers, the Browns. Like I look at the NFC and I don't see as much, I guess the word is closeness between the wildcard teams and those who are just on the outside looking in. So you got your division leaders on the NFC side with the Eagles, the Lions, and the Niners and the Saints. But then the wild card sets up like this: Seahawks in fifth place, Cowboys in sixth, Vikings with Josh Dobbs as their quarterback at seventh.
Without Justin Jefferson making it happen. I mean, all of a sudden the Vikings could be a serious team once they get healthy over here.
But then you have these couple teams, or I should say this handful of teams on the outside looking in, and it's not even close to the talent the AFC has. The Bucks, the Commanders, the Falcons all have 4 wins. The Green Bay Packers at 3 wins are just after them. Like, yuck. Like, you just a bunch of really underwhelming teams. The AFC overall is stronger. But if we do look at the strong, like if we look at the Niners against the Chiefs right now, like if they were about to face each other on Monday Night Football, who are you taking?
I would lean
Niners.
I would lean Niners.
Right?
Which is probably the first time in 5 years that I would say any team other than Patrick Mahomes on it.
Before the bye week, I would have said the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But now after seeing a fully healthy Niners team again, the way Brock Purdy looked, he was nearly perfect in that game. Other than, honestly, one of his best plays was one of his worst. A touchdown pass to Brandon Ayuk. He should not have thrown that football.
By the way, that was a worse decision than some of his interceptions this year.
Right. There was a little bit of luck there.
Oh, it was super lucky.
Yeah.
And he acknowledged it in post game. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
But he was
Kyle
like,
Shanahan.
am I proud of that throw? Not at all. I should have run the football, but it worked. So Brandon Ayuk made a hell of a play.
Shanahan looked like, it was so funny listening to him talk. His head coach and obviously play caller, he gets to the podium post game and he's like, yeah, that took me a long time to get over. We talked about that for a long time on the sideline. And I said to him, like, you're wrong. You know that, right? You're wrong. Don't ever do that again. And then he's literally having a conversation with himself in front of the media. He's like, well, I mean, I guess he's right. It was a touchdown, but he should never do that again. He knows he shouldn't do that. But I mean, I guess if you ask him and he says, yeah, I mean, I made the right decision. Well, he wins that one. But if he ever does that again, I'm going to strangle the life out of him.
So what's great, that play was designed to be a quarterback run. And Brock Purdy got out to the flat and he was like, oh, this guy's open, even though it's across the field. I think I better throw it. That's a terrible decision.
I better throw a floater that direction.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it was
never do it ever again.
It wasn't planned to be a run because all of his offensive linemen stayed in the box and didn't block downfield, and that's the reason why they didn't get called for ineligible men downfield. It was supposed to be a bootleg pass, and he was rolling out to his throwing side. He could run it, and he should have ran it, but yeah, he instead floated it over the middle of the field, and number 11 just made an unbelievable play,
Now,
saved his butt.
If that was flipped and that ended up being an interception,
Ooh.
doesn't that change the story of the game?
Well,
Like, is Purdy coming off
sort
those
of.
3 games where he struggles a little bit? This is his first action since the bye week. If he throws a pick on his first drive instead of a touchdown,
I mean, it may change this conversation slightly, but I don't feel any moment that the Jags had a shot at that game. I mean, ever.
Part of the reason was, to your point, Fletch, the opening drive score. I do agree with that.
the Niners are way better when they play with a lead.
Yeah.
Like every team is, but especially the Niners, it feels like.
Momentum on your side, and also your confidence waivers with Brock Purdy. Yeah, it could have changed things. But then, to your point, TD, when you watch that whole game and you just see how helpless Trevor Lawrence looked there with Chase Young and Nick Bosa roaring off both of those edges. I mean, the Niners, if they stay healthy, which is kind of an if because it was iffy for 3 weeks there, the Niners are going to be a very difficult team to stop.
There's not too many games that you're watching that aren't a huge blowout. That in the third quarter you have the color guy and the announcer going, "Well, we're contractually obligated to stay with this game for another 7 minutes, and then we will switch over to the Ravens game."
Yeah, you always feel good as a fan when Red Zone stops talking about your team altogether.
Yeah,
like Scott Hansen,
right.
just we'll show you updates from the Niners game, but that's about it. Guys, I have a pretty big confession to make.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
I don't feel good about this, but I gained a couple pounds.
What?
You son of
So
a-
we've been doing SDfatloss.com. And granted, I'm still down like 48 pounds, but I have gone down from that 50-pound mark from the first day that we stepped on
humble
a scale in
brag.
here.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I have the tools to get back.
Yeah.
And I get the tools because of SDfatloss.com, because I called Chloe and Wayne at 858-665-3211, and they got me on track, losing a bunch of weight within a few weeks and a couple months, and I lost a ton of weight. And then we finished that reduction phase, and I went crazy, guys. They put a Cheez-It thing, a dispenser in the office.
That's been tough.
Biggest mistake ever. And I got on the scale this morning, and I wasn't stoked about the number I saw. But it's still 48 pounds less than what I was. So getting back on the right track today. As of today, I'm fully back on doing some more reduction here because SDfatloss.com will give you all the tools without injections, without drugs, without hormones, without exercising, of how to lose up to a pound of fat every single day. And in many cases, it's 2 or 3 pounds of fat, like we saw each and every single one of us through our reduction phase with SDfatloss.com. So get on over there. The consultation's free. There's no pressure, and there's nothing to lose except some unwanted pounds before the holiday season. That is a huge bonus for you. If you know that in 2 weeks, you could be potentially 10 to 15 pounds lighter, wouldn't you sign up for that right now? Go ahead and do it. SDfatloss.com.
Nothing to lose, a lot to gain, including a couple of inches. If you lose 60 pounds like Ben.
And a couple new friends in
Yeah.
Wayne and Chloe.
Yeah.
Who will
I thought
coach
you meant
you.
because of the couple inches.
When you said bonus, I
Yeah.
was like, ooh, I have to hit the dump button. That's the F button over here on us. Okay, coming up next, we mentioned the teams on the
You're a
out.
really gross person
I'm
sometimes.
sorry.
You know that?
I was Rich and I were on the same page.
Look, all I'm saying is there's a lot more to Ben than we realize.
Well, there is now.
That turns out he was an outie the whole time. Look, the point is we've got contenders and pretenders in the NFL, and we're going to discuss who fits in what category. That's next.
Who are the contenders and who are the pretenders? We'll break it down next.
This update is presented by AutoZone. Good games across the NFL in Week 10. Chargers fall to the Lions in a shootout 41-38. Browns beat the Ravens 33-31. Texans upset the Bengals 30-27. Final score, Kyler Murray. He returns to lead the Cardinals to a 25-23 win over the Falcons. And on Sunday Night Football, the Raiders, they take down the Jets 16-12. Week 10 wraps up tonight as Denver travels to Buffalo to take on the Bills on Monday Night Football. Locally, we got some breaking news this morning as San Diego State football coach Brady Hoke has announced that he will retire at the end of the season. Coach Hoke joined the show at 7:45. If you missed it, it will be up on the free iHeartRadio app as soon as our show ends. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. So get in the zone, AutoZone.
Big Rashidi and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760, and we have chances for you to win $1,000 every single day here. All you have to do is listen for a keyword and then take the keyword over to sportssd.com. Enter it there for your chance at $1,000. It's presented by Loan Pronto. Stop paying insane rates on your credit cards. Loan Pronto can help you tap the equity in your home so you can be credit card debt free in less than a week. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Aztecs tickets this segment for tomorrow night's game. San Diego State basketball taking on Long Beach State at Viejas Arena. Should be another packed environment at Viejas. Hopefully it's like the last one where an hour and a half before the game, the little quad that we broadcast live out of for Aztecs pregame was completely full of people. Maybe not the exact same tomorrow night, but it's going to be a packed environment. The show will be there. This is a good basketball team who took a tough loss against BYU on Friday night, but that will not be considered later on in the season as a quote-unquote bad loss. It will be a good loss against a top-tier college basketball program.
I like it. If you want to buy tickets, go to goaztecs.com, but just keep it locked here if you want to win them. And in the NFL... There's some contenders.
Yeah. There are definitely a lot of teams on the outside looking in on the playoff picture or currently in the playoff picture. I think ours was better.
Felt like we nailed it.
Who I'm curious about. Eric Hosmer, let's start with him.
Yeah, start with him. Contender or pretender?
So the Jacksonville Jaguars, after getting demolished by the 49ers, do we feel like, okay, especially with the Houston Texans nipping at their heels in the AFC South, do we feel like we can trust that the Jaguars are going to be in the playoff picture at the end of the season?
In the playoff picture, probably. I do kind of feel like they're a pretender at this point, which is very odd. I'm very hot and cold on the Jags because I did think they got it right when they were out. Were they in Germany or in London?
London.
Those games were in London. Something just looked like it started to click. Trevor Lawrence looked a lot better. They looked abysmal yesterday to me. And I know the Niners defense had a lot to do with it, but good Lord. I mean, they couldn't do anything right.
5 straight wins coming into that game against the San Francisco 49ers. They got exposed a little bit in a couple different areas, but the Jacksonville Jaguars are absolutely contenders. And I'll tell you why. Head coach and quarterback are in place. Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, they've been working well together this season. Ever since Trevor Lawrence shedded himself of Urban Meyer, he's been a really good quarterback at this level. And they have weapons everywhere. So once you get into these not so weird non-conference games where it's AFC playing against NFC and you never really know how those go, the Jacksonville Jags will be just fine.
You know what the Jags look like to me? Meh. That's
really?
It. Meh.
I disagree, man. They got talent on that team between Calvin Ridley, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne. Like, this is a good football team.
I agree with that.
This
I
is
agree with all that.
This is a game that I would kind of throw away if I was a Jags fan.
Feels very meh.
I don't know. I like the Jags. I agree with a lot of what Fletch said. I think their defense is actually a big part of the story so far this season. Of their past 4 games, excluding the 49ers, they held teams to 20 points or less, and they won a close one against a very good Saints defense who scored probably more points. I'd have to do a season review on the Saints, but scored more points in that game against the Jags than they had in most of their matchups so far this season. Really important 3-week stretch for the Jags. They're going to face the Titans at home and then go on the road to Houston, who beat them earlier in the season before they got on that 5-game win streak.
Tell me that's a primetime game. Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud going against each other?
Not a primetime game.
Son of a...
However, on the 4th of December, we have Monday Night Football between the Jags and the Bengals, and that could have enormous playoff implications, especially if somehow the Houston Texans surge and take over that division. That could be a fight for a wild card spot.
How do you guys feel about the Steelers?
Pretenders.
Dude, I cannot call them pretenders.
I can't either.
Yeah.
Here's another team that's not supposed to be.
But if you're going to say someone's a contender, don't you have to have it in your head that they're going to win a playoff game?
No.
And I don't think there's any chance the Steelers team wins a playoff game.
I consider a contender a team that's contending for a playoff spot.
Okay. With that definition, yes, the Steelers are a contender. With the definition of having to see them be able to win a playoff game, I don't see them being able to win a playoff game.
The Steelers might win the AFC North.
The Steelers could win a playoff game also.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can.
Hang on. I'll tell you right now, because you're going to have a hard time answering this question, I guarantee it. I don't even know what the matchup will be. But right now, okay, if the season ended and the first team gets the bye, the Steelers would be facing the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. You're telling me you wouldn't give them a puncher's chance?
No, I wouldn't.
Really?
Is Lamar Jackson playing?
Yes.
Then no, I'm not giving them a chance.
You're not giving them a puncher's chance? Why? Why? It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Mike Tomlin.
It's Kenny Pickett. It's Kenny Pickett, Lamar Jackson.
I know, but it's been that all season. They beat the Ravens.
That's not a postseason game.
They beat the Ravens 17-10.
Look, I understand that we're going to start yelling and we're going to get animated about this. I feel the way I feel. Kenny Pickett is not a good quarterback in the NFL. He's not a good quarterback. Not good quarterbacks don't win playoff games.
But that's not true.
I don't know.
But that's not true.
That has happened in the past.
So many times. Yeah. So, in fact, not great quarterbacks have won the Super Bowls.
That's
Trent Dilfer won
also
the Super Bowl.
true.
Joe Flacco in that division. We just named 2 in that division who have won Super Bowls. Oh my God!
Do you give him a puncher's chance against the Browns?
No. The Browns defense would eat Kenny Pickett for breakfast.
Okay, well, you're going to find out next week.
They're going on the road. They're facing the Browns next week. Man alive. Yeah, so two for two in my mind. I know you're at 1-1, but I have 2 contenders in the Jags and the Steelers.
Okay. God, Mike Tomlin, by the way, is he the best coach in NFL history?
Sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know how he's 6-3 right now, but
and I don't know how old he is, but he still looks the exact same as he did when I was growing up.
Yeah, he has one gray hair.
Like he looks like he's in his early 30s still.
Yeah.
Unreal.
He also looks like he's never very happy.
Right. He's just
always kind of angry at me.
They scored a touchdown yesterday, and the camera went to Mike Tomlin, and he still had that pissed off look on his face.
Wasn't a good enough touchdown.
Okay, lightning round, Texans, Browns, Cowboys, Bills. Any contenders, any pretenders in that list?
Sorry, one more time.
Okay, Texans, Browns, Cowboys, Bills. So
Man,
Texans, contender, pretender?
Contender.
Okay.
yeah, I feel like CJ Stroud's making up a contender.
We are all in consensus.
Yeah.
Browns, contender, pretender?
Contender. Defense is too good.
I say pretender. It's still a dumpster fire there.
Pretender as well. I think Deshaun Watson is a huge question mark, even though he's played one good half
It's the best
of football.
defense in the NFL.
Yeah, but you need to have Deshaun Watson play like he did for only one half through his career with the Browns so far.
He was pretty damn good yesterday.
Yeah, for one good half since he's been a Browns
And that was enough to win.
Cowboys?
Oh, well, if they replace Deshaun for PJ Walker, then I'll say the Browns are a contender. Okay, Cowboys, contender, pretender?
Pretender.
Pretender.
I have no trust in the Cowboys.
They're really good against
Zero.
bad teams. Good
Yeah.
for them.
The Buffalo Bills at 5-4, contender, pretender?
God. I mean, this is like 51-49. I'm still going to say they're a contender here.
Let's ride, baby. Broncos win tonight. The Buffalo Bills are pretenders.
I agree with you, Fletch. The Bills are on fraud alert.
They get beat tonight. I really believe that.
I think it's possible.
I think anything's possible. Let's ride.
All right, Kevin Garnett.
We are losing our
It's
minds.
fine. It's
Monday
fine.
morning, man. What was the last team you mentioned there?
The
I don't
Bills.
even remember.
Okay.
Honestly,
what?
was it the
It
Bills?
was the Bills. That's
Oh,
the
it
last
was
one we
the
talked
Bills.
about.
Yeah,
We're talking
okay,
about the Broncos game, which is tonight.
No,
Monday Night
I
Football.
meant the last team on his list.
That was it.
Is this it?
That was the end.
Okay,
Can
listen.
we take a nap?
Nah, it's fine.
No, it's good.
We're gonna make some double straight coffee because we got a meeting right after this.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Okay, CJ Stroud, MVP candidate or not? And we finish up the show where we started with some breaking news that we were handed earlier this morning. Okay, but first, before we run, the Good Feet store has these arch supports that I really highly suggest to anybody who struggles with lower body joint pain. So if it's your feet that are bothering you, if the ankles are the culprit, your knees, if they've been bugging you walking around or getting out of bed in the morning, your hips, your back, whatever the pain locale is, could have a lot to do with your feet. As it turns out, the foundation, obviously, of your upright self. I didn't pay any attention to it until I went to the Good Feet store, and they have this whole try before you buy. They get you balance tested. They measure your arches. They figure out exactly which arch supports are for you. And I remember walking out of there and feeling, oh, wow, I guess this is how I'm supposed to walk. And for the first time, I felt comfortable standing on my feet, for long extended times, waiting in line at the grocery store or waiting in lines at theme parks or, going out golfing with the guys. Like, it really has helped me reclaim a lot of what I guess I was missing prior to these arch supports. So if you're like me and you struggle with lower body joint pain, the Good Feet store is for you. 200 plus locations around San Diego, and obviously an online presence at goodfeet.com. You can book your appointment there or find a location near you. Okay, we got to do it. Got to give away these Aztecs tickets.
I like it. I like it a lot.
844-570-1360. That's the number to dial. TD, which caller should we give these to?
Caller number 6.
Caller number 6 is going to win a pair of tickets to go see the Aztecs take on Long Beach State. That's going to be at Viejas Arena tomorrow night.
I have a stat that's going to impact this Monday night football game. I'll tell it to you on the other side.
Okay, I love that. That's perfect. We'll catch up with you in just a few minutes. Coming up, a huge announcement from the Mesa regarding the football team, and also MVP candidate or too soon to tell. That's next. Man, what an unexpectedly busy Monday show for a show that we already expected to be insanely busy.
Mm-hmm.
We barely scratched the surface on the majority of the storylines we wanted to hit out
Josh
of the
Dobbs.
NFL. I mean, we'll have plenty of time this week to catch up. Obviously, a big one Monday nighter tonight. Bills, Broncos, both teams still searching for identity in Denver. And really identity in Buffalo. This season has been kind of an up and down ride with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So we'll see what that has to offer us tonight. Also, head coach Brady Hoke announced his retirement. First place he spoke publicly about it was here on air with us, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. You can check that out on the free iHeartRadio app. The podcast will be up as soon as we get off the air this morning. And all of a sudden, we've got a new MVP candidate coming out of this weekend in the NFL.
He needs to be talked about more. CJ Stroud, who somehow has hidden under the disguise of the Houston Texans jersey. But the dude's been incredible. Now, 2 fumbles yesterday. That's nothing to bat an eye at. I mean, that's a problem. But he also led the game-winning drive. And he also made a lot of really good throws. And he was also over 300 yards passing once again.
Yeah.
The dude is putting up numbers that we just have never seen from a rookie quarterback. And so you feel like he has the rookie of the year discussion locked up. But when you talk about most valuable player and you get into the definition of what that means, without him, the Texans are nothing.
Over his last 2 games, Stroud has totaled 826 passing yards. He joins Cam Newton weeks 1 and 2 of his 2011 rookie year as the only 2 rookies with 800 plus passing yards in consecutive game spans. Stroud and Newton also are the only 2 rookies with 350 plus yards passing in consecutive games. Stroud had 3 of those games this season so far. Week 2 against the Colts, tied with Newton and Andrew Luck with the most in a rookie season since 1950. Okay, so dude's awesome. And he's thrown to Nico Collins, who recently got injured, Tank Dell, who's brand new to the NFL, and Noah Brown, who hasn't worked with anybody.
Another 150-yard receiving game for Noah Brown. It's kind of wild what you're seeing out of CJ Stroud. And you can't help but steer the conversation back to the Carolina Panthers. Like, what the hell did they miss?
boy. I mean,
And do people get fired for that bad of a miss?
I mean, that when you contextualize Bryce Young, when it's not just, okay, Bryce Young struggled this year, but then it's at the backdrop of CJ Stroud in the MVP conversation at week 10, it gets so much worse when you're a 1-win Carolina team.
Yeah. So,
Really rough.
and when your number 1 draft pick belongs to the Chicago Bears that you gave up, by the way, to get Bryce Young. So Monday Night Football tonight, we got Bills. We got, who the hell are the Bills playing? Broncos. Let's ride. Josh Allen, 2 passing touchdowns away from tying Dan Marino's record for most touchdowns through first 8 Monday Night Football starts. He's 2 away from that.
Wow.
But Josh Allen also is 3-4 in his career on Monday Night Football games. So how do you balance the two? I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you how. It means that they've had to lean on the passing game because they're chasing points. So he's thrown for a lot of touchdowns because he's a talented quarterback, but they've gotten behind on Monday nighters. Look, the reason why we're talking about CJ Stroud is because in the most unlikely of scenarios, the Texans have a winning record. He's putting up insane stats, but they're also winning. Like, we would look at the Eagles, we talked about this earlier, very differently if instead of a handful of those close games being wins, they were losses. And we'd be saying very different things about Jalen Hurts. Today, we talk about his leadership. If they were staring at, I don't know, name the record, say they were 3-7 on the year, we would be saying, well, maybe we overestimated Jalen Hurts. Narratives are attached to winning. And unfortunately for the Bills, they've really struggled this year.
Thank you to Brady Hoke, not just for showing up on the show today, but for every Monday that we've had Brady Hoke, as well as everything he's done for us in the media. He's always been a very gracious coach when it comes to that. And thank you for his time here on the Mesa, because that program was not doing well before Brady Hoke was introduced to it. Thank you to our texters. Thank you to our roadies, our dogs, our hangers, our bangers. If you missed anything from the show, it will be up on the free iHeartRadio app in a matter of minutes. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, TD. Doc Chow tomorrow at 8:30.
Sounds good. Yep, we'll get the full injury update from Doc Chow tomorrow. Stick around. We got the Herd with Colin Cowherd coming up next. San Diego Sports 760.